Crap, I'm late. Just please make it on time. No, I was too late.
Calm down. What's going on, Retro?
I was so caught up in the Sonic reviews that I missed out on a chance to make a joke. It was going to involve you blooming while screaming in agony.
Wait, what?
Guess I'll have to do it next time.
Hold on a sec.
But he was already making preparations for next. Alrighty then. Pikmin. It's an interesting one, alright. This game was inspired by Mario 128, or Mario 128. Mario 128, a tech demo for the Nintendo GameCube, showing off 128 individual AIs doing various tasks. The game was also going to be called Adam and Eve, where you'd play as some sort of guard, manipulate their lives, and watch them grow into a village. No apple tree though. Anyway, this somehow turned into Pikmin. The game was developed by Hiroshi Kamiura, and I'm pretty sure that's not even pronounced right, and Shigeru Miyamoto. Yes, this is another one of Miyamoto Bike's children. Welcome to the family.
I guess I could tell you my history with this game. My first exposure to this game was from the trailer on Luigi's Mansion, and my cousin actually had it. I didn't think much of it, and while I did miss out on the first game, I did eventually pick it up, and when I finished the game, I fell in love with it. Heck, it's a bit of a reason why I named my channel after the game.
Pikmin was then released for the GameCube on the 26th of October 2001 in Japan, the 3rd of December 2001 in North America, and the 14th of June 2002 in Europe. So, is this game about plants any good? Well, my guts tell me we should take a look. The story starts with Captain... Oh boy, I misspelled Olimar wrong. The story starts with Captain Olimar taking a flight in his spaceship, the SS Dolphin. Ha! I get it, because the GameCube was... Anyway. His ship runs into an asteroid, causing it to crash land onto an unknown planet with all of his ship pieces scattered across the planet. When he awakes, he finds out about his ship in mediocre condition. But not only that, the planet is full of oxygen, which is deadly to his people, and his life support system will only last him 30 days. What a terrible turn of events. Pikmin, A Terrible Turn of Events, by the audiobook Amazon. After a bit of wandering around with a very zoomed in camera, we find a strange tin, which Olimar calls an onion, that spits out a seed, which grows into a plant. After plucking said plant, because why not, we meet the creature he calls a Pikmin, apparently based on his favorite food, pick carrots. After feeding the onion some food pellets, which causes it to shoot out more Pikmin, that's right, they multiply! Olimar comes across his ship's engine, and with the help of the Pikmin, brings it back to his ship, letting him leave the area. From here on out, you and the Pikmin, who decides to help you because... You and the Pikmin must find the rest of the pieces before 30 days is up. Short and a bit dark for the Nintendo game. I mean, 30 days to escape or you die? It's good, don't get me wrong. It's just... die? But of course, you didn't come here just to die? I swear that's the last time I'm saying that. Yeah, let's move on to the gameplay. There are 3 types of Pikmin. There's the red Pikmin that are the strongest and can withstand fire. The yellow Pikmin can be thrown higher and pick up explosive bomb rocks. And the blue Pikmin can breathe underwater. The main objective of the game is to search for a piece of the ship. Kinda like ToeJam and Earl. He even crashes like Earl. To do this, you will need to gather a certain amount of Pikmin and let them carry it back to the ship. This won't be easy because there are enemies everywhere and they're hungry for some pick looking Pikmin Super D Karate. To defeat the enemies, you must chuck the little guys at them until they're dead. You must also be careful how you approach the enemies, as if you're not careful, they will gobble them up. No matter how old I get, this will never be any less terrifying. There are also various ways you must approach the enemies, like watch out because they breathe fire or don't let them squash your Pikmin. Also, once they're dead, you can just bring their corpses back to the onion and make more Pikmin. Just What?
You want to talk about terrifying? Let's talk about the bosses. There are 3 bosses in the game. The first one, the Burrowing Snagret, is located in the Forest of Hope. It's a snake-like hybrid that will come out of the ground and gobble out your Pikmin. The second one, located in the Forest Navel, gave me a scare when I first played it. You have your group of Pikmin and you blast down the wall and you see nothing. You see that there's a ship part in the area, so you walk in and the music changes, but still nothing. Go a little further, and boom! Beady Longlegs just comes out of nowhere and squishes some of my Pikmin. Who and why programmed that? I'm sorry. That really scarred me ever since. And finally, we have the Emperor Bulblax, located in the final trial, and he is the worst. So far with any other creatures that eat Pikmin, they don't take much. But with him, he has no Pikmin limit, and he will gobble up and squish all of your Pikmin if you're not careful.
What's really cool about these bosses is that they're not really treated as bosses, as they are just bigger enemies, apart from the Emperor Bulblax.
At the end of each day, Olimar writes a log entry detailing what happened that day, what creatures he knows, or just remembering his family back on planet Hokatet.
It's little details like that I just really love. Not entire cutscenes dedicated to a character's development or anything, but little pieces showing off what our boy Olimar's like. Despite being trapped on an unknown planet with little time on his hands, he's still eager to study life on the planet, with his main motivation being his family, and man, he must have one great family. Apart from that one dialogue when he just lost all hope and everything went south. I swear it comes out of nowhere. Oh yeah, at the end of each day, Olimar has to leave the planet's surface for the night, as all of the enemies will come out at night. So before the day ends, you must gather up all of your Pikmin, because any Pikmin not with you or the ship and onions will be eaten. And man, do I feel guilty when that happens. Come on, come on, come on. Oh crap, the countdown. I'm gonna make it. I didn't make it. And that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. In each in-game day, you must find the ship's pieces, grow more Pikmin since the more you have, the better, defeat any enemies in your path, with care, build bridges, destroy walls, and take over the world. Oh, no wait, no. You can't do that, no. It's all about strategy. You could use all of your Pikmin to focus on the bridge, but you can also have some Pikmin to do other tasks, and in turn, save time. It's pretty hard since you can't be in 2 places at once, but if you want to survive, you might as well do it. Luckily, making the ship parts my main priority made the journey a lot quicker. You can even find nectar for the Pikmin to drink, turning their heads into flowers, which will make them faster and stronger. And you can also leave them planted in the ground and wait till they grow from a leaf to a bud, and then a flower. I didn't have any other place to put this. However, if I have to say one thing that sucks, apart from losing your Pikmin, that pain would never go away. The Pikmin themselves, they're kinda dumb. Sometimes they will just do something without your command. That's how I lost this little guy. They will fall into the water just like that, and as you're trying to whistle them out, more Pikmin will fall in and just, oh, it's annoying. And try going over a bridge with a whole group of them because it's too big and someone's gonna fall in, and not even using the C-stick will be any help. Didn't your teacher ever tell you to form a straight line? And some of them will even trip. Just, who thought that would be a good idea? And no, I will not make a brawl joke because that'll be too obvious, so... I had enough Sonic Forces in my life for one day? It's the best I got. The controls are not the greatest either. The analog stick moves both you and the cursor, meaning that throwing your Pikmin is more of a chore than anything, and I just end up using the C-stick half the time, unless necessary. Other than that, it's pretty good.
The C-stick is useful for some things, like if you need to put Pikmin on some stuff right away or swarming a creature.
Once you get enough ship parts, you'll go to the final trial where the last remaining piece rests. And honestly, it's a pretty good test of your skills using each type of Pikmin. And then you meet the Emperor Bulblax. And like Pikmin 404 said,
it's 442.
This guy is no joke. He can wipe out your entire army in a single attack by either eating them or doing a ground pound. Miyamoto Bike was right, this is the next Mario. but it's pretty easy if you plan carefully. Sacrifice a yellow Pikmin holding a rock bomb. He gets stunned, attack, and then call them back before he wipes them out. Rinse and repeat. And after all of that effort, what do we get? A piggy bank. Well, I guess that makes sense. So after fixing your ship, the Pikmin waves you goodbye. Aww. And then you fly away, ending the game. And actually, speaking of the piggy bank, there are multiple endings to this game. Turns out that 5 of those ship pieces are optional. If you only collect the required pieces and reach 30 days, he just kinda leaves without saying goodbye. But if you don't collect the required pieces and reach 30 days, he does the same, only it doesn't quite work. And then the Pikmin, for some reason, brings the corpse of Olimar to the onion and turns him into a Pikmin seed. What? And after that, you get your high score, encouraging you to play the game again. I like that. Also, once you beat the game, you unlock a challenge mode where the goal is to make as many Pikmin as possible within the day. I like this one too. But without a doubt, the best highlight of this game is the presentation. Holy Scooby-Dooby-Doo, does this game look so cute! The Pikmin, the lifeless faces, the noise it makes. Whoever did recording for those sound effects needs a serious praise. Oh, and the rest of the game looks great too. Especially like how huge everything looks compared to Olimar, with the idea that he's about the same size as a thumb. In fact, the whole world kinda looks a bit familiar. Yeah. Could it be? Yeah. And the music is alright. Nothing too special, but it gets the job done. Apart from the intro. Seriously, what a movie. And that's Pikmin. What do we think of it? I think it's pretty good. While there are frustrating moments like that one part where you have to use those stupid flower tinnies to turn the Pikmin from one type to another, and it's just, who thought it was a good idea? Regardless, I really enjoyed my playthrough with this game. It's very short, so there's some replayability. The gameplay itself is interesting and quite addicting at times. The Pikmin charm is all over the place. Dear lord, I want a pet Pikmin. And overall, a good game.
While it is fun, there are some rough parts like the tripping and waiting for the sprouts to pop up. Luckily, both was improved in the sequel. Overall, I'm glad I discovered this game and its series. Now, if only we can get word for Pikmin 4.
What about Hey Pikmin?
I only see it as a 2D spin-off.
If you want the best version of Pikmin, I highly suggest the version on the Wii. It's essentially the same with some minor differences. For one, it's in widescreen. That's always nice. You can select which Pikmin type to hold with just 2 buttons. That was something the GameCube really needed. But most of all, the controls are so much better with the cursor being controlled using a Wii Remote sensor, so you have much more precision. The Pikmin can be lined up a lot better too. It definitely helps out a lot more.
Plus, you can go back in time in case you had a major Pikmin loss or a piece of the ship that glitches out and falls into the abyss.
So, do I think you should get it? Well, if you don't like the idea of multitasking and having to deal with a time limit, maybe not, but it's most certainly worth a shot. After all, I like it, and I'm terrible at organizing stuff like, where did my pizza go? I'ma go and look for it, I'll see you around.
So, is no one going to pluck me? Am I going to be stuck here? Hello?
By this point, you should know that I'm not a very big RPG guy, unless it's something unique, like Mario with his timing system, Final Fantasy VII Remake being more of a hack and slash, Dragon Quest XI with its simple yet engaging story, and Persona 5 just being great overall. Yeah, I finally played it, Brian. You happy now? So, why do I like Pokemon so much? I don't know. In fact, I had no idea if I really wanted to do this game till I played it again. That and Generation 4 being remade for Switch, my first ever Pokemon game. So since we got the announcement and Pokemon just turned 25 last month, I'm trying to catch up, I promise. I've decided to talk about Pokemon Generation 1 and maybe figure out why I like the franchise so much. So, who's up for a bit of Pokemon? I wanna be the very best that I ever was! The costume is my real test! The training is my code! The game, games, was developed by Satoshi Tajiri of Game Freak, who combined his childhood love for collecting insects and bugs with the frustration of not being able to trade rare items in Dragon Quest II. And since the Game Boy's Link keyboard allowed for multiplayer between two Game Boys, Satoshi knew that it would be the perfect console for his upcoming game. Games. Pocket Monsters Red and Pocket Monsters Green, which got an updated blue version later down the line, which that one was localized everywhere else as Pokemon Red and Blue, and that one had an updated yellow version. Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, that's all you need to know. Is this good? Good, let's go. Oh, for this review I will be focusing on Pokemon Red since... well, I'll explain later. I'll also be using this fancy schmancy Super Game Boy to give the game a bit of color. Oh look, a new border too. Cool. Before I can explain the story, I should probably talk a bit about the world. This is a world filled with creatures called Pokemon. Pokemon varies in different shapes, sizes, abilities, etc. And there's 151 different species of Pokemon. There's Venomoth, Poliwag, Nero, Golduck, Ivysaur, Grimer, Vidribel, Moltres, Nidoking, Farfetch, Abra, Jigglypuff, Kingler, Raihan, Clefable, and Wigglytuff. Like the rap said, people catch these Pokemons inside these little tins called Pokeballs. To some, Pokemon are pets, but others use them for battles with other Pokemon. These people are called Pokemon trainers. You with me so far? Good. When you start the game, you get greeted by Professor Oak, who studies Pokemon as a hobby. Oak tells you about the world and asks for your name. Poopamon. I was going for Poopymon, but I made an error and I just went with it, so... Poopamon. Then he tells us about his grandson and our rival for the game. But he can't remember his name? Some grandfather you are. Well, if he can't remember, I guess I'll have to make up a name. Jeffson. He's Jeffson. After that, we get chibified. No! Don't turn me into a markable plushie! After nearly walking into tall grass, we get stopped by the professor himself, warning us about the dangers of Pokemon living in tall grass, and we should have a Pokemon of our own for protection. Conveniently, Professor Oak takes us to his lab where Jefferson is waiting, and we both get to pick one of 3 Pokemon to begin our journey with. Bulbasaur, the seed Pokemon, Squirtle, the tiny turtle Pokemon, and Charmander, the lizard Pokemon. I chose Charmander because I don't really have a favourite, so I went with the one everyone chooses. I'm very original. Once both me and Jeff picked one out, we battle it out, and then journeyed on, but not before delivering a package to Professor Oak. After that happens, we then get given the Pokédex, which is a device that can record the information of Pokemon once caught. Oak then tasks us to complete his dream of completing the Pokédex with all 151 Pokemon. After that, the journey is on, for real this time. The gameplay is like other RPGs at the time. Walking in a grid, random encounters, turn-based battle. The next time I review an RPG, I'll just say it plays like RPGs and leave it at that. This time, random encounters only occur when you're walking in tall grass, which is much easier. Unless you're in a cave where random encounters happens everywhere. I mean, it doesn't eliminate the issue altogether. It can get annoying when you go and this is a good way to transition into the battles. When you encounter a wild Pokemon, you fight it. Doesn't get more simpler than that. Actually, having your Pokemon fight rather than you is an interesting take on the role-playing genre. The moves you pick to use are more like commands to your Pokemon. I like that. Anyway, you use your Pokemon to fight a wild one till they faint. And yes, not die, faint. This is a kid's game after all. Or you can weaken them by bringing their health to a low level and throwing a Pokeball at them. I mean, you could try to catch them while they're at full health, but good luck with that. Once caught, the Pokédex will record the information on the species, and you can now use said Pokemon to fight alongside you in battles. The only downside is that your Pokemon won't gain any experience points unless the Pokemon they were fighting has fainted, so yeah. You can also fight other Pokemon trainers, though you don't really have a choice when you're in their line of sight. These Pokemon are usually at a higher level, and you can't catch these ones since, well, they belong to your opponent, and that would be stealing. Better moles than Persona 5, eat your heart out. But they do give your Pokemon more experience, and when the trainer is out of Pokemon, you get money. Now, if only real life was like that. There's a lot of strategy to a Pokemon battle too. There's different types of Pokemon and moves ranging from normal, fire, grass, water, ghost, rock, ground, bug, psychic, etc. And each of them has its own strengths and weaknesses. For example, fire-type Pokemon are weak against water-type moves, but they are strong against grass-type moves. Knowing which Pokemon and moves to use keeps your mind occupied. There are also moves that raises your Pokemon's speed, strength, etc. for the fight, as well as decreases those for your opponents. And there are even moves that can cause status effects, from making them asleep, paralyzed, and even poisoned. That one's the worst, since every fourth step you take, your poisoned Pokemon loses health, so you better get to the Pokemon Center before they faint. Speaking of which, there are the Pokemon Centers that can heal your fainted Pokemon in your party for free, which I find much better than paying for an inn. I should probably also put this here. I really like it when your Pokemon evolve after reaching a certain level, kinda showing how powerful they've become, like my boy evolving into a dragon. Not all Pokemon can evolve. For example, Ditto, the Pokemon that can transform into whatever Pokemon you have battling it. I mean, I don't really like him. He could be anyone, you can never know. He's your Pokemon version of everything this cake meme. I bet they're forming a society to rule the world and turn it all into deception and lies, and we're all blindly following them without realizing it. Completing your Pokedex and catching them all is your overall goal, but it's not the main focus of the story, believe it or not. There's this competition called the Pokemon League where you get to battle the Elite Four, the strongest Pokemon trainers in the Kanto region. Oh yeah, we live in the Kanto region. However, you must have the 8 gym badges to qualify. These are found in separate gyms, and you must beat the gym leader to get one. Each gym leader also specializes in a particular Pokemon type, which I like since it tests your knowledge. Except for the Poison Gym where every Pokemon's a Psychic type instead. Not sure why that is. When you're in a gym badge, your Pokemon can also use a HM move outside the battle. Oh, right. There are these TMs or technical moves that you can use once to teach your Pokemon a certain move, rather than them learning a move by leveling up to a certain level. Some of them like Dig or Teleport can even be used outside a battle. But the really useful ones are the HMs or hidden moves. They're basically the same as TMs. Only these can be used an unlimited amount of times, and all of them can be used outside a battle. The only catch is that you need a certain badge to use a certain move outside. But in my opinion, they're worth the trouble. You can cut down trees, please save the trees, move boulders, surf on the water, and fly to any town you've been to. I do like how the first 2 gym types are alike, making a starter Pokemon more of a difficulty choice, with Bulbasaur being the easy mode and Charmander being the hard mode. In between your travel to the gyms, you'll also encounter other story elements, like running into Jefferson and battling out, helping Bill out and earning a ticket to go on the SS Anne boat, and encountering the 3 legendary bird Pokemon, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. But you'll mainly encounter Team Rocket, an organization that uses Pokemon for evil. They mainly just steal some stuff, kill a Pokemon in a game where Pokemon are not supposed to die in battle, and steal some stuff. A plot point that I find a bit neat is the fact that the very last gym, which is locked to get the other 7 badges, has the leader of Team Rocket as the gym leader. That's good. The story's not too deep, but has enough to keep you entertained. However, it's time to talk about the main marketing point of the game. Trading. At the Pokemon Center, if you know someone who also has a copy of Pokemon, you get a choice to either battle your friend or trade a Pokemon. Do you have 2 rare Pokemon? Want to share one with your buddy? No problem. Plug in the link cable and swap them pocket monsters. Not only do you get a new Pokemon, but when you use them in battle, they gain even more experience, and even more when it's with a game from a different language. Just don't do Japanese. That won't work. By the way, since I can't reach Japanese, could you guys in the comments tell me why I've named myself on my rival? Thanks. The only downside is that if they're at a too high level, they will 9 times out of 10 flat out won't do as you say, which is a lot more annoying than I thought it would be. The game's tagline is "gotta catch them all," but realistically, that's impossible with just your one game. You see, there are exclusive Pokemon you can encounter in only the red version and the blue version, Pokemon that can only evolve after trading, different choices like the fossils you can get revived, fighting type Pokemon from the dojo, and that one Eevee that you can evolve into 3 different evolutions based on which elemental stone you give it. This is what encourages the trading gimmick. You can beat the game by yourself, no problem, but you will need help from others if you want to complete it. Hey, Shimoda, how's it going? Listen, I'm playing Pokemon, and I was wondering if you could help me out with this one. You see, there's this trade... Apparently, you can get both versions and play the game twice. Don't do what I did. It's nearly drained me. But one Pokemon that is impossible to obtain by normal means is the mystical Pokemon Mew, which was given out at events by Nintendo. So the only way to get Mew is via a glitch. And as much as I would like to go into detail about how I nearly messed up and had to find a different trainer and I was only able to get a level 2 Mew instead of a level 100, I think a link to a different video would be much easier for the both of us, so here's a good one. And since I might as well put this here, once you beat the Elite Four, beat Jefferson the new champion until you came along, and register your Pokemon into a Hall of Fame, and in the story, you get to go to a cave with some pretty high level Pokemon, and Mewtwo, a clone of Mew, making him the world's most powerful Pokemon! This is who I am! I'm just gonna throw my Master Ball at him. This one catches any Pokemon without fail. Yay me. One thing I do like is the music of the game. Sure, it's still simple, but I like what they did with it, especially the battle music. Man, that's a jam to listen to. Just, everyone, stop using the music from the CD in your videos. The reverb is unbearable. Why do you keep doing this to me? I also like the locations of each and every place. Simple towns, a place with a multi-story shop and a casino, and even a place with a tower where the souls of Pokemon rest with one of the creepiest music ever. And my younger sister's favorite music. She's something alright. And on that note, for a Game Boy game, it's surprisingly detailed. I mean, that's a lot of battles for no reason, but I think it's good looking. Especially the Pokemon sprites. Actually, speaking of which, I should probably talk about Pokemon Yellow. A year after Red and Blue, an updated version was released called Pokemon Yellow. It was designed to closely resemble more to the Pokemon anime series, which launched aside the original games. It has some added features like being able to have all the original starters without needing to trade, adding Jesse and James into the Team Rocket mix, and updating the Pokemon sprites since the original was different to the anime. Not to mention how goofy they look. And you can even print out your Pokemon on your Game Boy printer. Isn't that neat? But the biggest change is Pikachu himself. Just like the anime, your starter Pokemon is Pikachu while your rival gets an Eevee. He can follow you around, you can make him happy, and he can even speak like in the anime. Well, it's what's impressive at the very least. The only downside is that you're basically playing on hard mode, since your electric type starter doesn't have any effect on the rock type gym leader, which is the first gym mind you. But if you can get around that, I think it's the best version to start with. And with that being said, is there anything I don't like about the game? Well, it's the first, and it's buggy. Let's start with the first. This is not the best generation of Pokemon. There are so many features missing that were introduced in later games. You walk so slow in this game. And sure, you could get a ticket later on to get a bike, but you have to go through quite a bit without that, and even then, there are places you can't use your bike. Your inventory is so limited. you can only hold 20 items, and when you can't hold any more, you have to go to the PC at the Pokemon Center to store your items. And even the PC is limited! Keep in mind that this includes key items that are pretty useless afterwards. And speaking of the PC, you can only have 6 Pokemon in your party. After that, your Pokemon automatically get stored in your PC. However, even that's limited, so when you try to catch a rare Pokemon, the game tells you can't until you go to the PC and change the assigned box. Why do I have to do this? And when I encounter a Pokemon, sometimes I can't remember if I already have this one or not, and I don't want to waste my Pokeballs or space, so I run from the battle, check my Pokedex, see that I don't have him, and kick myself later on because what if it was a rare encounter? And the less I talk about running out of money and having no way of making more, the better. The oversights in the game don't make it any better. In the Survive Zone, you can catch rare Pokemon with no battles whatsoever. But apparently, the developers forgot that these Survivals are basically Ultra Balls, which are like Pokeballs, but with a better catch rate. And these Pokemon are always at full health, meaning that catching them is harder than intended. Not to mention that there are Pokemon with incredibly low encounter rates, incredibly high chances of running away, and I'm losing my money not catching a single Pokemon. And the Psychic Pokemon? They're overpowered. This Pokemon type is strong against nearly every other type, and is only weak to Bug type moves. And even then, there are only 3 Bug type moves. And Bug type Pokemon are weak against Psychic attacks! Not all glitches are bad. For example, the Missinol glitch. Or M in my case. But these have been fixed in future games. And that's it for Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, and Pocket Monsters Green if you want. What do I think of it? I love it. Why? I don't know. It's an old RPG with many of its annoying RPG elements, and all of the bugs and missing features were fixed or added in future generations. But, for some reason, I had a good time playing this. I wish I could go into detail on why I really love this, but there's just no explanation. Call it nostalgia for Pokemon, or maybe it's just because of the world of Pokemon, but yeah. I love this game just because. I guess that's the magic of Pokemon. As much as the decision to have a chibi art style in the Gen 4 remake is such a backwards decision coming after other remakes, I'm probably still going to enjoy it as much as the rest of the series. I mean, there's probably some reason why these games started off phenomenon, spawning the anime series I mentioned, a trading card game, and God knows how many merchandise. If you still want to experience the Kanto region, the game has been remade. Twice. I won't go into much details, I think I'll save that for a separate video someday. But to put it short, Fire Red and Leaf Green adds some life-needed improvements and fixes all of the bugs. And Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee is an easier version of Pokemon. The original games are also on the 3DS Virtual Console if you really want to experience them. But finding the old Game Boy copies is an easy task, so whatever floats your boat. So yeah, this is one review I can't... Hold on a second. Huh. Ditto. Why is he... Of course, what is this now? Oh! Oh god! Oh god! No! No! Oh no! Ah, I do love me some good Mario games. Wait, what's happening? Oh no! No going! I have to hurry! 3D Land? Strikers Charged Football? No! The top 100 Mario Party? Okay, that one wasn't so good anyway. Huh? Yes! Gotcha! Gotta hide! Okay, it's been a week. Probably 2. But these games are still here. They haven't disappeared yet. You know what? Screw it! I'm bored. Alright, the Game Boy. I'm sure you all know what this 10 is. It's a gaming device that you can take anywhere on the go.
Wow!
And bundled with this brick was a little known game called Tetris. Oh, and Super Mario Land was released alongside. This game was not developed by Shigeru Miyamoto. Why? I don't know. Probably because this game doesn't take diesel. Instead, it was Gunpei Yokoi, who also created the Game Boy itself. So, is this game good despite it not having its main mode of transport helping it out? Let's find out! We once again begin the story in the Mushroom Kingdom where... What? We're not going there? Okay then, we're in Sarasaland, which is ruled by Princess Daisy. Okay. I didn't know the lack of the Miyamoto bike was this effective. One day, an alien named Tatanga took over Sarasaland by hypnotizing the citizens. Not only that, he wants to force the princess to marry him. After hearing the story, the Mario Brothers... What? Are you sure? Okay, no, it's just Mario. Anyway, Mario sets off to defeat the alien, rescue the princess, yada yada yada, eat a ball of cereal to complete his start of the day. Gotta be honest, I like this fresh new take. Keep in mind that this was back then when story was just... bleh. Having something very different, albeit still kinda simple, I think it's neat. So, what about the gameplay? Well... it's a Mario platformer. Check out any other Mario games for more information. Each game sold separately, batteries not included. Well, I guess the best place to start will be the length of the game. There are 4 worlds with 3 levels accompanying them, with a boss fight at the end of the 3rd level. So in total, that's 12 levels, which makes for a pretty short game. But it makes sense, considering many people would play it on a road trip. Where is it? Oh well, so anyway... Despite being released after Mario 3, the game takes a closer resemblance to the first Mario game, which I can understand considering the Game Boy's power and how early it is, but there are a couple of noticeable changes, including the game's length. Well, for starters, Mario's physics are a bit off to say the least. Mario carries a lot of momentum when jumping, and when you walk off a ledge, he drops faster than a rock. And this is probably just me, but it's really hard to aim at pretty much everything really. It doesn't ruin the game by any means, but it is very noticeable. The level design is okay with its physics in mind, but whenever I'm over a bottomless pit, my butt clenches. Another noticeable change is the new power-up. Of course, the Super Mushroom makes a return, but instead of the Fire Flower, we get the Super Ball Flower, which lets Mario shoot out balls. This is a weird one. It always goes at a 90 degrees angle, so hitting enemies can be a little bit of a chore. It bounces off of everything, you can't shoot another ball until the other ball is off screen. It can also collect coins, which I guess is nice, and if I had to say ball one more time, I'm gonna scream. And speaking of collecting coins, there are a lot more bonus rooms than usual with so many coins! Look at this! At the end of a level, instead of a flagpole, there's this tower, I guess. But if you get to the top of it, you get to go to a bonus challenge for one of 3 lives or a Super Ball power-up. This game is so generous with its lives. At the end of the 3rd level, you get to fight the boss. The first one is just like Bowser. Either hit him a few times with some Super Balls, or run underneath him. The 3rd one has you trying to jump over him by using these boulders, or, you know, taking a hit and moving on. And the 2nd one has you in a submarine shooting him. Oh, right. On the last level of World 2 and 4, you get to ride in a submarine and a plane. They're basically auto shooters, but I really enjoy these parts. Kinda wish there were more. Oh well. I will say this. The enemies are... they're something alright. You got the Goombas, Bullet Bills, and the Piranha Plants, but there are also Koopa Troopas that explodes! Okay. Flies, spiders, flying bonefish, fire-breathing lavas, fists that comes out of pipes, and those scary Easter eggs. This is a little too much for me, can we move on? You fight the boss in your plane, fight this alien with this awesome music, beat him, save Daisy, credits roll with some more awesome music. Yeah, one thing I highly praise this game for is its soundtrack. Hirokazu Tanaka did a fantastic job with this music. The Overworld, the Muda Kingdom, and the Chai Kingdom being my favorite. But my boy, what is the deal with using the Can Sun as invincibility team? I like it, but who put crunchies in this guy's Maltesers? Oh, and the game looks fine. Nothing amazing, nothing bad. It's fine. Though the Super Game Boy makes it all red. Just believe me when I say that's water and not lava. And that too, it's all water. And that submarine is supposed to be yellow. What? What? No! No, I'm not doing the joke! No, it's overused! Stop it! No! No! So, what do I think of this game? For what it is, it's good. But that's all I can say. At the end of the day, it's a Mario platformer shrunken down to a Game Boy. Weird physics, weird Super Ball power-up, and a short game overall. But it's still fun nonetheless, so I'd say it's worth the purchase regardless. Especially for that soundtrack. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but this music! Woo! So, what do you do when your game does well? Make another one. And another one. And then a sequel. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. What makes these coins special? Well, I guess we're gonna find out. Oh, yeah, no Mia motorbike again. He's now a convertible. I'm going too far with this pun, aren't I? After the events of the first game, it turns out an evildoer named Wario. Oh! Ah! Turn the M upside down. Ah! Anyway, while Mario was gone, Wario hypnotized the people of Mario Land and has taken over Mario's castle. Mario! My boy! My boy! Where did you find the time and money to own an entire island to live on, much less a castle? How many coin rooms were you going through? You know what? I bet he's hiding something under that stash, and it ain't Portal 3. So this time, you got to go to 6 different parts of the map, beat the levels, beat the boss, and get the 6 golden coins to get back inside the castle and beat Wario. The 6 golden coins. They're keys.
Is there a door that doesn't lead to prison?
Well, first things first, like I said, you're on a map where you get to choose which place you like to tackle in any order you wish. Honestly, that's kinda cool. I mean, the map system has been done before, but choosing where to go first? I honestly would like to see that in more Mario games. If there were any left. As for the main gameplay itself, well, it's Mario. Actually, can we talk a bit about the graphics first? Well, it looks like Mario World because, well, you can put 2 and 2 together. Because of this, the sprites they're a lot larger than I would have asked for. Because of this, you're more than likely to take your time in this game. And, well, I guess that's fine. I enjoy the level much more when walking. It's just... gotta go fast! At least the game doesn't ask you to make large leaps of faith or anything, so it's still fair. However, the weirdness doesn't stop. First, the physics. Remember the stiffness of the last game? Well, now everything's all floaty. Look at them Goombas! Even Mario feels a little bit floaty himself. He doesn't jump. He hovers. This is some Dragon Ball Z stuff right here. Man, I want to watch some Super Mario Bros. C stuff right now. Also, just like Mario World, you can do the spin jump. I think this sucks. You awkwardly have to hold down while in mid-air to do it. And even then, the only use it has is to break blocks, which you don't have to do very often. So, this move is pointless. Another pointless bit are these fire blocks that you can only destroy using a fireball. I came across them twice during my entire playthrough. Oh yeah, the power-ups. Of course the mushroom is here. The firefly is back to normal, no Super Ball Pong physics. And then there's the new one. the cat that turns Mario into a bunny which lets him glide. Why? Because Easter eggs. Actually, this power is broken when used in the right levels. Often it can be used to skip a huge chunk of the level with ease. Oh, by the way, instead of gaining a 1-up after collecting 100 coins, you just keep collecting coins till you reach 999. This time, you use those coins in a slot machine for extra lives. And since I'm on the topic of getting off topic, this game has a kill counter. No, seriously, every time you kill an enemy, this counter goes up, and when it reaches 100, you get a star power up. This game has a kill counter. When you reach the bell at the end of a level, you get to play a crane game or a bomb game for a goodie like an extra life or power-ups. But at the end of the last levels of each place, you fight the boss. And honestly, they're really easy, so have fun. But once you've collected the 6 Golden Club Nintendo collectible coins, you get to go to one of the most annoying levels I've been to in a while. You get no checkpoints. Die once and you have to go all the way back to the start. But once you get through all of that, you fight Wario with stages of the power-ups too, then you beat him, ending the game. Now I will say this, as much as I'm not sure about having the sprites big, the whole game looks really good. Like, check out the details on all of this. Is this really a Game Boy game? The Super Game Boy makes it weird again. This ain't LucasAid, son. I also really love the design choice for each level. I mean, a giant Mario toy raises some questions, but still fun. I also really like the space levels, as if the floatiness of Mario wasn't enough. As for the music, I really like it. It's not as catchy as the first game, but I still love it. From its happy moments to the beatboxing nothingness. Though they didn't keep the CanCons on. Worst game of all time, IGN, negative 100 out of 10. I'd rather play Call of Duty Good Boy Wolfpack. And that's pretty much it. What do I think of this game? I'd still like it. It's not better in every way, but I also had a pretty good time playing this. It's twice as long as the first game, but that's still not saying much. And for a Game Boy game, it's pretty damn fun. Just like the other one, you should buy this if you come across it. Wait, what's happened? What? No, oh god, no! They're gone! The cartridges are gone! No! No! Yes, I'm back at it again. And no, they didn't pay me to do this. Yet. Maybe, I don't know. You may recall back in October that the Quantum Astrophysicists Guild sent me 3 games as review codes. Well, since then, they've given me 2 more to do, and I've been meaning to find a spare time to do it. And now seems like that time. Again, thank you QA Guild. So, without further ado, let's ado. The first game is called Round Guard, developed by Wonderbelly. I received this one last Christmas, when I gave you my heart. Funny thing is that this game was released 9 months prior. They sent me it on time for this winter update that was going on for a limited time. I didn't play it around that time, so oops. But first, a little history lesson. Wonderbelly was founded by the couple Andrea and Bob Roberts, along with their friend Kirk Lloyd. They worked in AAA games, along with making some indie games of their own in their spare time. After making Hieronymus Bash, a dodgeball game with Smash Bros-like physics, that honestly sounds cool, they really liked the idea of making a physics-based game tactical, so they wanted to do another one. And then, one day while Andrea was sipping away on her brainstorming mug, she said, Peggle RPG. The heck is Peggle? Oh, right, that. What made you put those 2 words together? Are you secretly a mere motorbike? So yeah, they decided to build RPG elements around a pachinko game and its arcade-like gameplay and randomness. I've never played a pachinko game, so what do you want me to say? And, well, here's the game. Thanks for your time, Andrea. The story goes something like this. Castle Springbottom has been taken over and the king is missing, and so it's now your job to save the day. Okay, that was simple. So the objective of the game is to make it from one room to the next, and the only way to do that is to get rid of all of these enemies. To do that, you will need to catapult yourself into all of these enemies, and once they're gone, you get rewarded with gold and it's on to the next room. The thing is, you and your opponents have health bars and attack powers. When you collide with one, you both will pretty much attack each other. I'm just realizing this is very much like Fire Emblem. At least I think it's Fire Emblem. I don't play much Fire Emblem. Luckily, there will be potions all around the room to heal you and bring your mana back up. Speaking of which, you also get 2 special attacks that do various things like shooting an arrow or making yourself invulnerable for a second. At its core, it's very simple. However, if you don't plan your attacks carefully, you will die very quickly. There are different enemy types, items that can cause status effects. Even the floor can be unsafe, so it's not just a matter of where to shoot, it's when. Think of this like Angry Birds, but you're only using one bird, you're going downwards, and there are health bars. There's also so much replay value. The main adventure is short, but there's plenty of different paths to take, so it's highly unlikely that your next playthrough will be the same. There's also daily and weekly challenges with certain conditions. I always appreciate stuff like that. The whole game is in the style of a stage. That's it. I do really like the small humor during the tutorials though. Someone who is invulnerable can't take any damage, obviously. There's usually a catchy jingle with it too, but there doesn't seem to be one in this game. Licensing reasons, perhaps? Lady, the Can song is free to use. As for how the game looks and sounds, it's alright. Though for some reason I'm getting occasional Little Big Planet vibes with the soundtrack. Odd. And that's Round Guard. What do I think of it? It's surprisingly great. I was really caught off guard, no pun intended, with how addicting this game is. And with its replay value, there's a good reason to come back for more. Don't let the Angry Bird looking gameplay fool you. This game is really good. But now it's time for a question. Do you like space? Do you like otters? Do you like Charlie?
Ow, Charlie!
Well, then I've got the game for you. Space Otter Charlie by Wayward Distractions. Wayward. Am I just dumb? I've got to be honest. Looking at the trailer alone caught my attention. So, how is it? How about we dive in and find out? Oh, cool. Another story. In the 26th century, humans left the Earth and journeyed into space. Why? Who knows? We've got to make some space jumps somehow. So, with no humans around, the animals, including otters, were enjoying the peace and quiet. That is until they discovered that the Earth was getting too hot, possibly due to global warming. So the otters decided to get out there themselves in search of a new home. One problem though, once they were in orbit, they ran out of fuel. Rough startup. So you as Charlie, must travel through various planets and ships, explore the place, and do whatever the objective tells you to do. You know what? I like it. And you know what else I like? Their gameplay. Guys! Space physics never gets old no matter what. You jump from wall to wall with no way of moving other than your jetpack with limited fuel. This is a restriction that's very well thought out. If you're not careful, you could end up floating into a hazard. You also get a gun to kill enemies, because otters love to kill. But this, combined with the limited jetpack fuel, opens up for some pretty good puzzles. The whole game isn't a puzzle, which I'm a bit thankful for, but what there is good. There's also quite a few collectibles to find for the sake of making the journey easier, as well as costumes that not only make you look cool, but adds their own exclusive gun with it. My favorite is the Tron one. I mean, look at it. This is straight up Tron, and I love it. And there are even some random notes including artifacts, and I'm starting to think this guy just really loves otters at this point. And I don't know why, but I just really enjoy exploring each and every inch of this game, collecting everything. Probably the Spyro fanboy in me, but you know. And I find the bosses pretty good. There's nothing to write home about, but I found the first boss tricky at first. And as for the final boss, well, I'm just gonna keep that spoiler to myself, but the end game is really good. And I do really enjoy the interactions with Charlie and his crew. They're not much, but it's charming. Although the fact that they're fine with putting Charlie at extreme risk, poor guy. And that's Space Otter Charlie. What do I think of it? It's really good. So good that I think they should do a sequel. The space physics, the small puzzles, the collecting, the costume, this otter dance I did. It's amazing. The only flaw that I have is that it's sometimes difficult to aim when using the controller, though that could just be my crappy USB controller. So yeah, these two games are worth checking out at the very least. I had a really good time with them. Sorry this video is even shorter, but I hope you've enjoyed it in some way. As for the Quantum Astrophysicists Guild, psst, sign here. This is nothing but, you know, just sign here. Don't look at your bank account afterwards. It'll be fine. Don't worry. Just, it'll help me out, you know. I could finally get that Virtual Boy console I've always wanted. Wait. What's happened? What? No, oh god, no. They're gone. The cartridges are gone. No! No! Pizza in my oven, but my belly's too fat. Rhythm doesn't whine, and I don't know why. Oh look, I just did
Retro,
all my
get
high.
up!
Oh, hey,
Look at yourself. You're a mess. What happened?
well, a couple of plumbers and all the kingdoms fell off the wall. And Humpty couldn't put them back together again.
Look, not all the Mario games are gone.
What? Tell me, what games are left?
Alright, listen, calm down. Jeez.
This isn't Mario.
You know what? Fine, tell me how the review goes. I swear to God. God damn it.
I'm not playing this piece of toilet. The company Rare, also known as Rareware, was founded in 1985 in the UK. After reverse engineering Nintendo's own Famicom, something they claimed would be impossible, they received an unlimited budget from Nintendo, allowing them to make plenty of games for the NES, such as Wizards and Warriors, Marble Madness, and God knows how many Battletoad games. And while not bad games, they certainly weren't highly successful. Around the time the NES was out, Rare decided to take a risk and spend all of their financial waffle-making machines on Silicon graphics workstations, which made 3D models, a new thing at the time. And while Nintendo was figuring out how to compete with Sega's Aladdin, Rare came up to them and was like, "Whoa dude, I got models that can make your games into the next dimension, bro!" Sure, why not? It was then decided that with the power of 3D, Rare would reboot Donkey Kong, and it was a good move since the series has laid dormant for about 9 years at the time. Thus, they released Donkey Kong Country during the winter times of 1994, 2 months after Sonic & Knuckles actually, with its own revolutionary lock-on technology. So, will this game be as good as the graphics? Guess we're gonna find out. So the story goes as follows. Donkey Kong and his nephew Diddy Kong now live on this island known as Donkey Kong Island. One night, these creatures called the Kremlins, led by King K. Rool, stole the banana hordes of the Kongs, and it's now Donkey's and Diddy's job to get them back. Why do the Kremlins want the bananas so badly? I don't know. Is getting them back worth the risk? Probably not. But hey, apes. The game is a platformer, similar to Mario. You run, you jump on enemies, you make it to the end of the level, all those stuff. But since we're in the jungle here, there are a couple of differences. For one, instead of collecting coins for extra lives, they're collecting bananas, of course. Along with jumping, you can also do a roll attack, and with Donkey Kong, you can do this ground slam. This is pretty much pointless, so let's move on. Oh yeah, when you find and break a DK barrel, you'll get either Donkey or Diddy Kong depending on who you are at the time. Along with acting as an extra hit, they are both slightly different. Donkey can jump on enemies that Diddy can't normally, and Diddy moves a bit faster. And speaking of the DK battles, there are battles of all kinds. Regular battles, cannon battles that shoot you out, continue battles, TNT drums, steel kegs, battle out the wazoo. This game wants you to know its roots. Along your journey, you may also find these crates that will have a rideable animal body. Rambi can ram into enemies, Winky can jump really high, Expresso can run fast and glide in the air, Squawks can light up a dark area but he only appears for one level, and Ingard is basically Rambi but underwater. I'll get to the underwater levels in a bit. Along with being really helpful, they can also access bonus areas. And that brings us to the bonus areas. On the surface, they're not much, just chances for extra lives. But there are over 50 bonus rooms, and for some reason, they're key to getting 101% on your save file. Not gathering collectibles or anything like that, just finding the bonus areas. I mean, it's different, I'll give them that. Oh, of course I found them all, what do I look like, a loser? In addition to Donkey and Diddy, there are 3 other Con members to help you out. First, there's Cranky Con, Donkey Kong's father, or grandfather? I'm a little confused on that part. By the way, Cranky Kong was the original Donkey Kong prior to this game, and this Donkey Kong was Donkey Kong Jr. It would be a crime if I didn't mention that. Anyway, he just gives you hints on where to find the bonus areas, but he mostly goes on and on about how his days and games were much better than the ones at that point in time. I like him, he's got good taste. Next is Funky Kong. He's just here to act as a means of transport from one big area to the next. But why? Why do I need something like this? Why can't I just go back left? And lastly, there's Candy Kong, Donkey Kong's love interest. She's here for your only way of saving. This normally wouldn't be a big issue, but you only come across her once at the end of a big area. And combined with Funky Kong being around at that point too, if you get the game over before you reach her, you have to do all of these levels again. That might be a bit annoying. Luckily, that's not the case most of the time because the level design is very well thought out. While this game didn't have the Miyamoto bike since he was focused on Yoshi's Island, though he did help out a little, the levels are just right. All of this jumping, swinging, and climbing, and it all feels so perfect in my opinion. And I especially like the themes, like the countless jungles, caves, Winter Wonderland, crystal mines, and probably more jungles. But I especially love the stages with the gimmicks. There are the underwater stages with the swimming monkeys, keeping up to date with the memes, baby! The stop and go battles that change the behaviors of these guys, jumping from minecarts to minecart, the lights going out, and more. And even with all of that, it keeps its difficulty curve just right with no issues apart from how it saves. The only issue was that one snowy level and its cannon battles. Look at this! It goes around, it stops here, I press fire, but then it goes back here, and just... why? I'm not joking when I say I lost my sanity here, more so than I already have. Stupid game make me do an extra lives glitch just to... Don't judge me! Other than that, it was some small trial and error. Oh, and it has a multiplayer mode. No matter which mode you pick, it's a taking turns gameplay, so... pass. And as for the bosses, they're alright, nothing special. Would have preferred more creative characters, but oh well. The fights are at least good. Especially King K. Rool's fight and its fake credits. Ah! But whatever, he's down, all is well. This whole game was about bananas. Now to talk about the selling point. Yeah, I like the graphics. With the power of Silicon graphics, they were able to compress the frames just enough to fit onto an SNES cart. And I'm glad it looks great. It matches the environment which also looks great, it's realistic but still a bit cartoony, it all just mashes together. Although, in my opinion, it doesn't look as good when played on a HD console, emulator, etc. As for the music, it too also sounds really good, to the point where you question if it's really coming from a Super Nintendo console, with a few exceptions. In fact, it's so good that this was the first game to have its soundtrack put onto a CD outside of Japan. Funny fact is that some games already came bundled with a CD of their own, and they're just random songs with nothing to do with the game. Why didn't they bundle it with the soundtrack? And that's Donkey Kong Country. What do I think of it? It's most certainly revolutionary, and the gameplay does not let it down. I still have my respects and fun with Star Fox, don't get me wrong, but this game just seems to be good in every way, not including a couple of issues. Bringing back a dormant series, fresh new platforming gameplay, and especially stunning presentation. I can guarantee that you'll find yourself having a good time with this game.
Hey Retro, I just saw your review and oh my god!
Monkey!
So, 40 years since the Donkey Kong arcade game was released. That's a long time. Nintendo, a company who was making cards and toys, decided to shift their focus to the arcade market. While costs have increased in manufacturing toys, Space Invaders was emptying people's wallets. Since Nintendo had some experience in the market with the Wild Gunman and the laser clay shooting system, they had no problem making games like Sheriff, Space Fever, and eventually Radar Scope, which had moderate success in Japan. Unfortunately, they had trouble maintaining interest in the game over in North America, since it took 4 months for the arcade cabinets to travel to New York by boat. And as for the 3,000 units they predicted to be delivered, only 1/3 of them were sold, and even then, they didn't bring much. This led Nintendo into a financial crisis with 2,000 unsold units in their warehouse. This is usually how most companies end, like you never see them come back after a financial crisis. But the story has only begun. Nintendo's then president Hiroshi Yamauchi decided to simply convert the unused cabinets into a new game as a last-minute and low-budget attempt. He tasked young Shigeru Miyamoto, who just finished helping with the programming on Radar Scope, to create the new game while Nintendo's head engineer, Gunpei Yokoi, supervised. This led to what we now know and worship as Donkey Kong. Though it was originally going to be a Popeye game, but that didn't happen in the end. It initially sold 2,000 units, then 4,000 per month by October, and then by late June, it sold 60,000 and has earned $180 million. And the numbers just kept growing and growing, soon making Donkey Kong and Nintendo a name. Nintendo kept making money, it has serials, board games, ports, sequels, it was winning awards, there was a song, Universal's tried to sue Nintendo for copying off of King Kong, and of course, spawned the main character for the amazing series. So, time to look at all of the Donkey Kong games before Super Mario Bros., not counting the Game & Watch games. Sorry guys. The story of this game follows an ape called Donkey Kong, kidnapping a lady who was later known as Pauline, and climbing to the top of a construction site. Her boyfriend, a carpenter named Jumpman, or Mario in future games, follows in pursuit of the mad monkey, ape, and attempts to rescue his girlfriend. This was the first game to have any kind of story. Not much of a story, but it's a story nonetheless. The goal of the game is to climb to the top. To do this, you will have to climb ladders and jump over, or simply avoid, obstacles that Donkey Kong throws at you. This range from bells and springs to sentient fires and... ball porridge? No, wait, that's cement. Okay, gotcha. This won't be easy though, especially with Jumpman's controls. Just like many early games, you have no mid-air movement, so you better look before you leap, cause otherwise you might jump into a barrel. And then there's falling damage. Yes, this game has falling damage, and believe it or not, it's worse than Bubsy. This is the height he dies at. Yes, he can't fall onto anything lower than where he was. Or, jump down height is equal to 2 levels of framework. Wow, those were parts of the instructions? There's also the hammer power-up that destroys anything it touches for a short time. The only problem is that you can't jump or climb ladders, so you're pretty much stuck. Still a bit satisfying. The game is divided into 4 levels. The first one just has barrels that Donkey Kong throws at you with fire that chases you from behind. It's the most simplest of levels. Just climb to the top. The second one has those vomit balls on a conveyor belt. The third one has these elevators and this bouncing spring that seems impossible at first, but once you know what to do, it's not too bad. The fourth level has you walking over these cinnamon while avoiding the fires. Once you've walked over all of them, Donkey Kong is defeated, you save your lady, and the game repeats itself with a new pattern. Despite its flaws, I find this game really addicting. Personally even better than Pac-Man. During the development of Donkey Kong, Shigeru and his team came up with several levels and ideas that couldn't make it into the game for various reasons. Eventually, these ideas evolved, and one team member even suggested making them into another game. Around the same time, Donkey Kong was doing extremely well, and Nintendo wanted to capitalize on it with a sequel. Initially, Shigeru wanted the game to star Donkey Kong himself as the playable character, but it was later scrapped since he was too big for Smash Bros. I mean, he was too big to move about on the screen. So it was decided to create a smaller version of Donkey Kong, and thus, Donkey Kong Jr. was released a year after the first game. The story follows the events of the first game, with Donkey Kong captured by Mario. Yeah, the protagonist of Donkey Kong is now the antagonist of this game. Shout the Hedgehog anyone? So you, as Donkey Kong's son, Donkey Kong Jr., must reach to the top and save his dad. The gameplay is a bit similar to the first game. As I've said, you must get to the top of the stage to where the key is and move on to the next screen. To do this, you must climb up vines, jump across platforms, and over enemies. If you take these out of context, this is basically the first game all over again. And at its core, it is. However, rather than jumping being the focus, it's climbing. This alone, along with the new level ideas, makes the whole game feel fresh. Junior plays exactly how Mario did, right down to the jump down height is equal to 2 levels of framework. The only difference is the way he climbs. I especially like how if he hangs onto one vine, he slides down faster but he's slower at climbing. But that's reversed when he hangs onto 2 vines. That's a nice touch. Oh, and touching the fruits make them fall and destroys any enemies in its path. Nearly forgot about them. Like the other game, there are 4 levels. The first one has you climbing vines to get to the top while avoiding these, trap thingies. The second one has you jumping from platform to platform till you get to the vines where Mario sends these birds that occasionally poop. The third one has a mix of both vines, if you could call them that, and platforming while trying to jump over these sparks. And the last one has Junior trying to move these keys to the very top to free Donkey Kong while avoiding these birds that zigzag across the screen. Once Donkey Kong is freed, it's time to start the game all over again with a higher difficulty. This game didn't sell as well as the original because, let's face it, it's Donkey Kong. It was gonna be hard to top anyway. But it did good enough to be called a worthy sequel, and I agree. While not as good as the first one, it's still pretty fun. A year after Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3 was released, and that's all the history you're getting. The game follows Donkey Kong inside the greenhouse of Stanley the Bugman, and it's now your job as Stanley to get him away from those plants. Yeah, Stanley. Why him? Who knows? I guess Nintendo really wanted to capitalize on the popularity of the space shooters, so... yeah! The goal of the game is to shoot Donkey Kong to the top of the screen using your bug spray, because... once you do so, you'll move on to the next screen, and at the second or third screen, he'll head straight for the beehive, and it's time to repeat the game again. While you're doing that, you'll be swarmed by bugs of many kind. Some giving Donkey Kong the plants to eat, and others just wanting you dead. Holy crap, they just ate him! And that's all there is to this game. There's this power-up which makes the whole thing a lot easier, and these worms that stop moving once you shoot them and keeps getting in the way. Why don't you just leave me alone? But other than that, what you see is what you get. Unlike Junior, this game sold fairly poorly, though part of that was probably due to the video game crash of '83. On its own, it's alright, but as a Donkey Kong game, yeah, no, sorry, I just find it weird. A couple months into the NES life, Nintendo decided to try and make an educational game. So they came up with Donkey Kong Jr. Maths. And before I go any further, yeah, the game didn't do too well. Obviously, the game tries to teach you maths through 3 modes. The first one, called Calculate A, involves you splitting across the vines, picking numbers and math signs to eventually add up to whatever Donkey Kong is holding. This, however, is a 2-player competition only mode. Player 1 controls DK Jr., while player 2 controls, I guess, DK Jr.'s ghost. The first player to reach said number gets a point. That's it. Calculate B is basically the same but at a higher difficulty. This wouldn't be so bad if you could just actually pick 2 numbers to make a 2-digit number. Or maybe I just suck, who knows. And the third mode is Practice, where you, practice some math stuff. That's pretty much it. For what they were trying to do, it's alright. But again, it's an educational game, it was doomed to fail from the start. Around August of 1984, a sequel to Donkey Kong 3, sort of, was released to various Japanese computers called Donkey Kong 3 Daigatsu, which roughly translates to Donkey Kong 3 Great Counter-Strike. This time, it was made by Hudson Soft. The game is mostly the same, except you're always at the bottom of the screen instead of having platforms to jump on. Also, you need to be dead center when spraying up Donkey Kong's Donkey Kong now. Whoop-de-doo. Really, the only other differences, apart from what's playing it, is the backgrounds that change when you complete a level. Instead of taking place in a greenhouse, Donkey Kong is on a balloon and you battle out with him from a highway to a bridge, a country road, aliens? We're dealing with aliens now? If you ask me, that sounds a bit sus. And now we're in a UFO? What? And we're still fighting? I think that's enough for me. But yeah, that was all the Donkey Kong games before Super Mario Bros. Hit the scene. And while not all of them were big hits, I spent 60 euros on a maths game. They were fun enough, especially the first game and how important it was from saving a nearly bankrupt company to spawning 2 great sequels. And yes, I'm still Monkey. I'm not doing so hard, guys. I need Mario games!
Hey there Retro, I'm the guy from 3003 Studios, and I'm here to get you back into shape by the request of ShadowZP8, Lucario X, and Shimoda Brian.
Well, that's cool, I guess. I mean, being a monkey ain't easy. Speaking of which, where is Brian? He kinda up and disappeared after my incidents.
Monkeys, gorillas, despair.
He went out. Anyways, to get you back into shape, I'm gonna have to get you to review a couple of games.
Really? Just review games? How is that gonna help?
You'll find out soon enough.
Is it a Mario game? Please say you have a Mario game.
Unfortunately no, they're still mysteriously vanishing from existence. It's this game.
Huh. Metroid. Didn't think you played that game. But I still don't.
Look, just trust me on this. Anyways, good luck with the review.
So, here's my backstory with Metroid. Super Mario Bros. Crossover and Smash Bros. Brawl. The first Metroid game I've ever owned after that was Other M. But we'll talk about that another day. After a successful evening of NES games such as Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda, they made another game. And with heavy inspiration from the sci-fi horror film Alien, Nintendo decided to combine the exploration of Zelda with the platforming of Super Mario. Oh, and guns. To create what was released as Metroid for the Famicom Disk System around August of 1986, and then for the NES a year later. So, what is this game? Is it a Mario game? Probably not, but hey, let's go! Wahoo! In the year 2000 X5, oh, okay then. Can someone explain what the whole X in the years are supposed to mean? Anyway, we're in the future, aliens, planets, friends and foes. You know how the deal goes, it's space! One day, a group of space pirates attacked a research ship that contained an unidentified lifeform dubbed Metroid from the planet dubbed SR388. Great name, guys. Civilization was destroyed at some point on the planet, and it's currently suspected that the Metroids were the cause of it. So this researcher, or a group of researchers, I guess, I don't know, decided to freeze a Metroid for further analysis. That is until the whole space pirates attack thing I mentioned earlier. The space pirates went back to the base on the planet Zebes to multiply the Metroids, control them as a means of weapons, and take over the galaxy. The Galactic Federation, which is like the police force of the galaxy, launched an attack on the pirates but were unable to succeed. So, as a last resort, they hired a bounty hunter named Samus. Powered by his power suit, it is now Samus' job to explore the depths of Zebes, defeat the bosses, defeat Mother Brain, which is used to control the Metroids, and restore peace to the galaxy. Gotta admit, not a bad plot. I mean, these Metroids sound pretty terrifying, so it makes you curious what they're like firsthand. But how does the game play? The goal of the game is to defeat the Mother Brain, located in Torian. To get there in the first place, you will have to defeat the two bosses, which will form a bridge, for some reason. Sounds easy, right? Well, here's the problem. Yeah, good luck. Not only that, when you start out, you will be extremely weak compared to the bosses and later enemies. Luckily, scattered around the planet are permanent power-ups that will make Samus a lot stronger. So your real plan is to search around, collecting power-ups along the way, beat the two bosses in their respective areas, defeat Mother Brain, and the game. All in this huge world. Alright, let me break the game down. First things first, when you start the game, your instinct is to go right since, well, that's what many games did at the time. But you'll soon find out that you can't go very far in that direction. Instead, you have to go left. What? As funny as it is to look back on, this was not a common thing at the time. Once you go left, you'll find a power-up that will help you get past the parts you were stuck on. In fact, let's talk about the power-ups for a second. Like I said, when you start out, you're as weak as a mini Mario with 0 lives, 30 hit points, weak and short arm cannon range, and no clear direction. These power-ups are must-have if you plan on getting anywhere in this game, not only to get through small areas or open doors, but just to survive long enough. First, there's the Marumari, or Morph Ball in future games, that lets Samus roll up into a ball to roll through small spaces. I would question how it works, but then we'd be here all day. It's just one of those things that you look at and say yes. There's also the Morph Bomb that lets you poop out a small bomb while in that Morph Ball form. It can damage enemies, but its main use is for destroying certain blocks that your arm cannons can't do otherwise. Next up, you've got your missiles. They're stronger than your arm cannon, but they're mainly used for opening red doors with 5 missiles. They have limited ammo however, but you can find missile expansions to upgrade how much you can hold by 5 missiles. They're also all over the planet, and if you collect them all, you can hold up to 255 missiles. Wow! Along with the missile expansions, there are also the energy tanks that can increase your maximum health by 100 points. And trust me, you're gonna need them later on. The long beam lets you shoot further, the ice beam freezes enemies with a hit but it takes twice as long to defeat, and the wave beam shoots out a wave that does extra damage to enemies. The only problem is that you can only hold on to either the ice beam or the wave beam, with the exception of the long beam which stays with you no matter what. There's the Vega suit that cuts the amount of damage Samus takes by half, the high jump that lets Samus jump higher, and finally, the screw attack, the strongest power-up in the game. Normally when Samus jumps while moving, he'll do this harmless spin jump that looks cool. But with this power-up, it turns him into a one-hit kill for other enemies with the exception of the bosses. He is also invulnerable to most enemies while in that state.
360 Ball of Destruction!
I really enjoy these power-ups solely because of how awesome they are. Okay, let's move on to the flaws. First, the password system. In Japan, thanks to the disk system, there are save files. Over in North America and Europe, however, we were stuck with these long passwords that's supposed to be an L? And before you talk about how that's what it was back then and saving your game was uncommon back then, The Legend of Zelda was in development and released before this game, and that had save files. Not only that, apparently there's this unused chip that allows the game to be saved, but without the battery. So they could have added save files, they just chose not to. And you know what? Fine, just fine. I can deal with long passwords and all. However, you only get the password once you die. Well, at first, it's not too bad. But then when you have to turn off the game, you're at full health with the various suit, and you spend 10 minutes trying to die just so you don't lose your progress. And of course, every time you die or put in the password, you always start at 80 points of health, no matter how many energy tanks you have. Oh yeah, flaw number 2, you always start at 30 health! So that means you got to farm for health. This turns the game from, I am an almighty god, to, crap. You see how not fun this is? And don't try to play the game at 30 health. You won't get very far. And number 3. This game is very big, I'll give them that. The size of this game was actually nearly impossible. However, perhaps the game is too big. Where the heck am I and where do I go? Doesn't help that everything looks the same, and when I go like that, it's time to bring out the map. Look online, or Nintendo Power, and you'll find plenty of maps with locations on where everything is. This is a must-have, because otherwise, you'll be having a hard time knowing if you're progressing or not. These 3 issues are what keeps the game from being good. However, if this one thing this game does nail, it's the atmosphere. Rather than catchy beats, the game goes for an eerie feeling, which I think suits the game a lot better. I mean, I have my preference and these 3 pieces are nice, but yeah, not bad. Oh, and the graphics look fine, but again, everything looks the same most of the time. Anyway, the bosses. There's the first one, Kraid, who shoots spikes at you, and the second one, Ridley, who shoots fireball at you. Plain and simple. However, this is where the ice beam comes in. You need to freeze the projectiles so they won't respawn till they unfreeze. And only then can you get clear shots with some missiles, cause otherwise, they'll get blocked. And here's another tip. Go for Ridley first, then Kraid. While his stage and the one before that, Norfair, are very hard, you can get a lot of useful upgrades there, while Chrysler has nothing but missiles expansions and energy tanks. Not to mention Ridley's projectiles are a lot easier to freeze than Kraid's. And after you beat them both, a bridge forms that'll lead you to Toyon, where you finally meet the Metroids. And it's at this point where you soon realize how much of a threat they really are. They latch on to Samus and drain his health away faster than your brain can handle. Crap! If one or more latches onto you, just drop a couple of bombs and hopefully you'll be fine. They're invulnerable to pretty much any attacks except for the ice beam, which is reason number 2 to stick with it. After that, you're free to kill them with 5 missiles. Toyon itself is a pretty short area and not much of a challenge. But then after you destroy those regenerating walls, you finally meet the Mother Brain herself. Himself. It says mother, so I'm gonna assume it's a girl. All you had to do is to chuck some missiles on her till she's destroyed. The only problem is that these annoying Rentains keeps coming from everywhere, and if you land over here, you can kiss your sweet victory goodbye. All while Mother Brain just sits there and does nothing. Just like my mom. But once you've finally beaten her, I can't tell what happened for some reason. Did Samus place a bomb or something? Is it self-destructing? What's going on? Now all you have to do is make it to the very top using these very tiny platforms before the whole place blows up. But once you make it, you'll be congratulated by the game. Oh, but the galaxy may be invaded by the other Metroids? Well, I did it! And then after that... Whoa! What? Samus is a female? Wait, does that mean women can drive? Women can fight? Can they get freaky on a Friday night? Anyway, yeah, this was a big deal back then since not many women were portrayed as the protagonist. Usually they're the damsel in distress. And here she is, saving the entire galaxy. Good job. And yeah, I didn't get the best ending, shut up. Well, that's Metroid as a whole. What do I think of it? Well, it's important, I'll give them that. While not the first to have big open worlds to explore or permanent power-ups that lasted throughout the whole game, since Zelda kinda did that first, but it was the first game to successfully give the game a feeling that you're alone, and players are female all at once. However, there are a bit more flaws than good things about the game. Always starting at 30 health points, very weak at the start, and no idea where to go unless you have a map. So do I recommend you play this? Well, only if you're really good, so casual players beware. It takes a skilled player to enjoy this. If you want the best experience, then I suggest the remake Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. Along with a lot of life improvements and a sort of linear goal to reach, making it the best Metroid game to start with, it also adds something extra once you reach the end. The only problem is that the original cards are way too pricey, and the only re-release of this is on the Wii U's Virtual Console. So if you still have that lying around like me, pick it up.
Hey there, Retro. I see you finished the review of Metroid on the NES. Good job.
Yeah, but I'm still a monkey, so that didn't work out.
Hey, remember what I said last time? Anyways, to get you back into shape, I'm gonna have to get you to review a couple of games.
Oh yeah! Sorry, my brain is... yeah.
Right. Anyways, for your next assignment, you will be reviewing Metroid 2, The Return of Samus on the Game Boy.
Huh, guess I should've saw that one coming.
Okay, bye.
When saying it out loud, it's kinda weird. I mean, you have an NES game, and then you make a sequel for the original Game Boy. That's something you don't think about often. I mean, the only other example would be Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters. And that's it. But hey, Metroid did well enough, and the Game Boy was on fire, so it made sense. But you gotta admit it was a weird idea. So, in late 1991 and early 1992, Metroid 2, Return of Samus, was released. Will this be a good, if not better game than the predecessor? Or will the Game Boy make it a watered down experience? Guess it's time to find out. After the events of the first game, the Galactic Federation, grown concerned about the dangers of the Metroids, sent another research ship down to the planet SR-388 to investigate and make sure there weren't any more Metroids on the planet. Oh, by the way, SR-388 was apparently named after a motorcycle. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. After a while, they lost contact with them. Yep, they're dead. After that, they sent a search party and lost contact with them too. They then sent armed soldiers to the planet, and they also lost contact. With this information, they determined that there are indeed Metroids still living on this planet, and were deemed too dangerous to the galaxy. And with that, they went, hey guys, maybe we should actually think about this and start feeding them more people like that. And sent Samus, once again, on a mission to go to the planet and wipe out the entire Metroid species. Story-wise, it's simple. Yeah, a downgrade compared to the NES, but it's good enough in my opinion. You're given a mission and off you go. But let's see how the game plays. When you start the game, you actually get to see Samus' spaceship, and honestly, it looks really cool. They really... hold on. Is that 99 points of health? Oh my god. They did it! I'm at full health right from the start! Holy crap, and they even have spots to refill your health and missile ammo! No! They didn't! Save points? You can actually save your game now! Talk about a huge step forward, and within only the first 3 minutes of playing. Gone is the need to grind for health. Gone is the waiting to die just to get the password up. What a great first impression. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's talk about the controls first. They too have been improved upon. While Samus moves a bit slower to make up for a larger sprite on a tiny screen, shooting your enemies is made so much better now. You can crouch to get the smaller enemies and even shoot down while in mid-air just in case you've fallen. Other than that, Oh, wait, they already know. Oops. She plays pretty much how you expect. The power-ups are back too. Right from the start, you've got your Lawn Beam, Morph Ball, and Teddy Missiles, which is nice. Other returning power-ups include the Morph Bomb, the High Jump Boots, the Ice Beam, the Wave Beam, the Screw Attack, and the Vegas Suit, which looks a lot different due to the lack of color. Oh, and the missile expansions and energy tanks return. Not much to say about them apart from the missile expansions and how they got really lazy with their placements. And as to why she has to collect them all again is beyond my comprehension. Probably had to crash on the way to the planet or something. And for the new ones, there's the Spider Ball, which lets Samus stick onto any wall while on a Morph Ball, the Spring Ball, which lets Morph Ball Samus jump, the Space Jump that lets Samus jump infinitely while in that cool jump motion, and the two new beams. The Spacer Laser Beam that shoots 3 beams at once, and the Plasma Beam that shoots 1 at a time but is the strongest of them all and can go through walls. And just like the last game, you can only hold on to one of them. But unlike the last game, my tip is to just choose any one you want till the end game for reasons I'll explain in a bit. Even though you feel strong already right from the start, these powers make you feel even stronger by the end, and that's a good. Oh yeah, probably should talk about the goal. Throughout the whole game, the only thing you've got to do is explore the planet and exterminate the Metroids. All 39 of them. Okay, and that's it. When you pause the game, you'll be able to see how many more Metroids you need to destroy before you can move on. You see, there are these lavas that will block the way till enough Metroids are dealt with, and only then can you move on to the next area. This makes the game a bit linear. I mean, you can still get to the Metroids in any order you wish, but only the ones in the area you're in. Well, I guess this is a bad thing since Metroid is known for its exploration and everything. I'm more of a linear guy. I'm just being honest, that's all. Besides, it's still very easy to get lost in this game due to the screen size and lack of color making, no joke, everything look the same. And it's worse than the NES game. There are no set pieces. If you get lost, good luck. So yes, this is another game where having a map is pretty much required. And while it does sort of eliminate the issue like the last game, this must have been very awkward back then. I mean, think about it. Imagine sitting in the middle of the car with your Game Boy, Nintendo Power Magazine with a map of the game, and a symbol on each side making sure that you stay in your side of the seat while trying to figure out where the heck you are. I'm sorry my elbow is in the way, but the Game Boy is just too small and I can't see where I'm going! Times were tough! Whew. Sorry. I think rant mode went off randomly. Anyway, these Metroids will serve as your only bosses, with the exception of this guy who has a Spring Ball. Once you come across them, they've apparently mutated and there are various stages. Excluding the first, there's the Alpha Metroids that just fly right at you, the Gamma Metroids that shoots out electricity apparently, the Zeta Metroids that fly around and can shoot fireballs, and the Mega Metroids, which is just a bigger and stronger version of the Zeta Metroids. All of them can't be frozen, but you no longer need to freeze them since all they need is a couple of missiles and poof. I think this is stupid. I mean, the thing that made the Metroids so much of a threat was that they could latch onto anything and suck their life away, with the only thing that can stop them is freezing them and missiles, not to mention a Morph Bomb if one gets onto you. With these, they're just big mad boys that just need to be shot down. Talk about a downgrade. No, really, a step backwards in evolution. Just say yes. The game looks nice, especially for a Game Boy game this early, and apparently it made a new high points for handheld games, looking just as good as NES games. Alright, fair point. Even Samus looks better than her NES counterpart. Of course, there's the issue of everything looking the same, but it's still impressive for the time. On the Super Game Boy though, well, color. Not much to say. Although the water and lava look very similar. That's lava, and that's water. Maybe it's blood. As for the music, well, I really like some of the music, but the rest is pretty much nothing. I don't know, I feel like the game could have done better. Even the atmospheric music on the NES game sounded like some sort of music. Anyway, time for the end of the game. Once you've destroyed all but one Metroids, you'll head into this place where... Wait, what? What the? What? We got more Metroids to fight. Who gives a crap? I'm fine! Oh, these Metroids are back. Proving my point even further. So yeah, got to deal with these too. Ice weakness and all. Luckily, you can get the ice beam right before you get to them. See? No longer need to stick with one throughout most of the game. But whatever, you get them all and fight the Queen Metroid. Though if you're worn out from fighting all the Metroids, you could drop down here and refill your health and ammo. Trust me, you're gonna need to. And after a couple missiles to the munchy Metroid mouth, all but one Metroid remains. Now where is that little here in this? Oh! What is this? Oh, what's going on there? Whoa! It's a Metroid! Get off! Get off! Get off! Get off! Missiles! Go! 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 Oh, get off me! Get off me! Ah! Wait. What's going on? It's not attacking me? Wait, does it think I'm its mother? With the help of this baby Metroid clearing the path, all you have to do is make it back to the ship and end the game. What happens after that is beyond me. Oh, and I didn't get the best ending again, leave me alone. And that's Metroid 2 Return of Samus. What do I think of it? Personally, I had a better time with this than the other Metroid game. Removing all but one of its issues was what the game needed. However, it does come with its fair share of flaws. Metroids being the only bosses, the rest of the enemies being kinda forgettable, and a little more linear than the rest of the Metroid fanbase would have liked. Though personally, I don't mind that one. But you've got to remember that this was on the Game Boy and it was in its second year of the system. It ain't the best Metroid game, but it's a whole lot better than the last one. So, a good game. There is the remake on the 3DS called Metroid Samus Returns, but honestly, I haven't played it yet. From what I've seen, it's a whole lot better of an experience. I think. Don't take my words just yet.
Alrighty Retro, for your next review it's time to bring out the big guns. You're gonna play a game that everyone wants you to play. Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo.
Oh boy, time to finish the trilogy.
Now I must warn you, this game is 16-bit. Are you sure you're up for it?
Why? Does the bits really matter?
Not really, I guess. Just, you know, looking out for you.
Aww.
Don't get used to it.
The first two games, admittedly, aren't that great. I mean, sure, they weren't bad games by any means, but they had a couple of things holding them back. Super Metroid, however, well, you're about to find out what happens. With the Super Nintendo being out for a while, Yoshi Sakamoto, who directed the first game, wanted a really good action game. And so, to complete the trilogy, Super Metroid was released in mid-1994. Does this game play well on the Super NES? And is it fun? And why is Ridley red on the box art? What?
The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace.
Damn, that's some clear audio we got there. Pushing the limits, I see. Also, sorry about the French. There's no way of turning it off, so... Prince!
You wanna know why the audio is so clean? Because it was provided by Sony!
Really?
Yeah, the sound chip on the Super Nintendo, it was designed by Sony, which created the whole PlayStation situation.
Metroid is a PlayStation game. The game takes place after Metroid 2, with the baby Metroid in, well, captivity, thanks to Samus. She then sent it off to the Galactic Research Station to study its energy-producing abilities. It was then discovered that it could benefit civilization. Satisfied with everything, she left for a new bounty. That is until she received a distress signal telling her to head back to the station. Upon returning, however, all of the scientists were found dead and the baby Metroid is missing. After going into the next room, it turns out that Ridley has it. That's funny, didn't I blow him up into 4 8-bit sprites? How odd. After trying and failing to get it back, the research station goes to self-destruct. After escaping, Samus follows Ridley back to Zebes, and it's here where the game begins. After a bit of wandering around, it turns out that the space pirates are back and have rebuilt and even expanded their base. So apparently those are the space pirates and those are just the creatures of Zebes. So story-wise, it's good. That's about all I can say. So what about the gameplay? Well, first things first, Samus controls pretty darn well. She can now shoot diagonally, which is a real godsend. Okay, well, they really only added one change to the controls, but it's a big one, believe me. Oh, and there's a run button too. That's kinda neat. She also moves and jumps a bit more naturally, if that makes any sense. She controls perfectly. That's all I can say. And speaking of godsend stuff, you now have an in-game map, which... any space you fill, the map fills. It tells you which room's a room, there's hints on a nearby item, and if you can find a map station, you get a huge outline of the area you're in. And there's still areas hidden to the map station, which leaves room for exploration. Perfectly balanced in my opinion. Though, if you want me to nitpick, it would be nice if it would tell me where the doors were and make the little dots go away when I collect the items, but hey, it's amazing. You're not told exactly what to do, and you're not completely in the dark. This is how you handle a map system. The power-ups are, of course, back. Everything from Metroid and Metroid 2 returns, with the exception of the Spider Ball and Sprint Ball, which is kinda sad considering these were the interesting ones. You get the Long Beam right from the start, just like the last game, but not the Morph Ball or missiles, which is weird. And of course you have to collect them all again. Again, what happened? No, don't you dare, don't you dare! Are you kidding me? For the new ones, there's the super missiles that are just more powerful versions of the normal missiles, and the power bombs, which are basically screen nukes. They can also open up certain green and yellow doors. The only disadvantage is that their ammo pickups are rare to come by, which is saying a lot since health and ammo pickups are very frequent pretty much all the time, and they can't be refilled at the refill stations, with the exception of Samus' ship. There's also the grappling beam that you can use to swing across certain blocks, the charge beam that can charge up your laser for a stronger shot, as well as letting you do a mini screw attack, and the speed booster that lets Samus run faster while going invincible. The Fairy Suit has a new addition too. Along with cutting damage by half, you can also enter places that are too hot. And there's also the Gravity Suit that cuts damage by half again, so a quarter, but also makes gravity go normal while underwater. It also lets you travel through certain lava? I think? I couldn't do so before here, but now I can? I don't know. And last but certainly not least, the X-ray scope, which lets you scan the area for breakable and hidden blocks. Oh yeah, certain hidden blocks require you to use a certain power-up now. Didn't know how to add this in, so there. Actually, speaking of adding things in, while there's not many new beams, you can now finally stack them up so you don't have to leave them to find them again if you change your mind. Thank you! I mean, you still have a choice between the spacer or the plasma, but you can choose it from the pause menu, which is very nice. Oh, and you can apparently turn off certain power-ups. Why would you do that? Oh, and I nearly forgot! I ain't so organized today, people. There's also the reserve tanks that'll save some extra health when you're low on, well, health, which is nice. I mean, they might as well be energy tanks, but it's still cool. Is that everything? Good. Like the first game, your goal is to beat all the main bosses, for this time around. With this being your only goal, along with fighting that damn 4th Metroid baby, it's pretty much up to you what to do next. Explore the place, look where you haven't been, find a power-up and go back to a place that was blocked off to keep going. Just like the NES game. But the reason I'm not complaining today is because of how it's so much easier now. With more memorable locations along with the new map system, getting lost isn't a problem anymore. I mean, sure, I got confused a good few amounts of times, but it didn't take me long to figure out what I had to do. Well, apart from the time I could just walk through the wall and having no way of knowing you can do that, even with the X-ray scope. Or the time I had to use a power bomb to blow up the glass in here. How are you supposed to figure that out? I hope I'm not the only one. And man, the backtracking. Okay, normally I dread backtracking. No one likes it. I play a Mario 64 level and I don't move on until I get everything I can get. There wasn't much force to backtracking in the other two games, pretty much none if you knew where to go, which, if you're stuck with the guide, you should. Here though, you're going to have to go back somewhere after you gain a power-up. However, once you go back, it's pretty much a breeze since Samus gets more and more powerful as she gains new abilities, saying screw you to those enemies that now take one hit. And it's especially good since you'll find quicker ways to get back with these new shortcuts. I mean, don't get me wrong, not knowing where the doors are can get frustrating, a lot, but it could do a whole lot worse. If you're worried about backtracking in this game, I mean, you still have to do it, but it's not as painful as backtracking normally is. And to a non-existent segue, the areas you travel in are so unique, new and old. I mean, let's be real, the only thing you recognized in the different areas in the first game were the music. And the second one, well, that was one big area. Here, they're all just so memorable. We've got Crateria, which is basically just the surface of the planet, with not much to say. Brainstar has a few familiar areas, but it's not a forest for whatever reason. I mean, they didn't have to. I would have been fine with this area being the only one looking exactly the same as the original, but hey, it's neat. And would you look at that, they've even added the NES bubble platforms. Now that's cute! Norfair returns, now serving as the hot area with lots of lava and fire. Mario, which is full of water and even has these? Are these supposed to be the Metroids? Oh, wait, no. They're called Mock-Droids. They were the space pirates' first and failed attempt to clone the Metroids. So, yeah, they stink. And finally, there's the wrecked ship, which is full of spooky ghosts until you restore power. Bigger wish, twice in the game, you'll come across these little guys that came from said ship. They just teach you how to wall jump and use the speed booster to shoot up high. That's about it, though I must say, this is the hardest wall jumping in any video game ever. The extra bosses are cool too. Yes, you've heard me, there are more than just 4 bosses. They're nothing to write home about, but it's nice. You even get to fight the item statue at one point. What's his deal? But anyway, for the main bosses, there's Kraid? Looking exactly how you remember. Okay, he's down. So, now what? Oh, that's Kraid. My, how he's grown. Wait, then who was that? Not much to say. Use his, sticks as platforms, shoot his eyes to get him to and shoot him in the mouth. Next is Phantom. Just wait till he shows up and BAM BAM BAM! Then there's Drygon. Just shoot him and don't get caught. And finally, there's Ridley. He shoots his dragon fire at you as well as casually attack you with his tail. In weird ways too. Not much to say about them. good boss fights. Some of them are hard too. The graphics are amazing on this game, taking full advantage of the Super NES. The rotation, the scaling, and how everything looks in general. The amount of love and effort put into this it's good. The levels, the enemies, Samus herself, her ship, even the backgrounds. Same goes for the music. It sounds so crisp and clear, well, for what the SNES can do at least. But it's great. Actually, fun fact, Kenji Yamamoto, one of the composers of the game, came up with the opening music while riding his motorcycle on the way to the work. So why do you keep doing this joke? It's all a coincidence, Doc, I swear. Is it really? So, you've explored the place, beaten all of the main bosses, got annoyed at my joke? It's time to enter Toyin, the final area of the game. This is just as linear as the first game. Huh. And would you look at that, they've cloned the Metroids again. Who would have guessed? Huh. Maybe it's because of Samus' new power-ups, but they feel too easy to beat now. And before you comment, I still stand by. After entering a sandy room filled with dead creatures. Oh look, there's one. Whoa, what the? Why is it so huge? Why won't the ice beam work? Ah! It won't get off! Well, I guess there's nothing left to... Wait, why did it stop? Hold on. Is that... the baby Metroid? How the heck did it get so huge? No, you were practically born yesterday. In fact, I think you were born today. So, yes, there's the baby Metroid. It nearly killed me, but thankfully it still remembers me. Let's move on. After that, we finally fight the Mother Brain in a familiar battle. But whatever, we kill her and... wait, what? The heck? It has a body now? Okay then, we're still fighting. And then it shoots a beam which renders Samus useless. Come on! Come on, Samus, move! Crap, 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 crap! Whoa! Okay, that was unexpected. Huh, talk about payback. Oh, I get it. Energy producing abilities. I guess that makes sense. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Samus, you better do something about it. Thanks to the baby Metroid, Samus uses her newly equipped Hyper Beam to destroy Mother Brain, hopefully for the last time. Oh crap, the self-destruct sequence! Oh hey, I nearly forgot about the French. Whatever, go! After that, the, whole planet blows up? What? How strong was that explosion? Will this go on my criminal record? But whatever, the game is beat. Now let's have a look at that time. I'm never gonna get the best ending. Well, at the very least, we can see if I've collected everything. What? No, I got everything. I got all the power-ups. I got all the missile expansions. I even did the thing where you save the little creatures. What could I possibly be missing? Okay, apparently the spring ball. It was in the game and I didn't know. Next time I should read the instruction manual before playing. So that was Super Metroid. What do I think of it? I think it's great. The other two games had at least something holding them back. But this game has very few issues. Better gameplay, a map system, more bosses, better levels, better graphics, better music. This is a bigger and better version of the NES Metroid. And I think that was what it needed to be. And that's how you make a great sequel. Now, if we only can do the same with Sonic R.
Alrighty, Super Mario Galaxy.
Hello there.
Hey there, Retro.
What game were you playing?
What was I playing just now?
I wanna play too. Let me see.
It was your next assignment.
Oh, what's next?
Sonic 06?
On the Switch?
Yeah, it was a bootleg.
Alrighty then. I'll take your word for it. Actually, I haven't played 06 in a while.
Funny, that's what he said.
Who?
Fangal Airbag?
Wait. The guy that stole my helmet?
I was just renting it.
So since many people consider this game to be the worst Sonic game ever made, you'll be teaming up with him for this review.
Alright, I guess I can work with him. Hey, why not you?
Unfortunately I can't. I've never played this game before.
But I thought you were playing it just now.
I gotta go. See you later.
Okay then. How have you been? I haven't seen you since the incident.
I've been just fabulous, although fairly dead on YouTube.
You think you have it bad? I've got more hair than my mushroom soup.
Interesting, truly. So how's about we start talking about, what was it again? Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis?
Tis fanball. It's Sonic the Hedgehog on Game Gear.
Ah, okay. My mistake.
Out of curiosity, how did you come across this game? I don't have much of a history. Just heard it was bad, got a 360, and played it.
I see. Well, the first time I ever came across Sonic 06 was on YouTube in the form of an all the cutscenes video. And from the cutscenes alone, I mean, it looks like a cool game. I just so happened to have had an Xbox 360 at the time as well, so I got the game and finished it, painfully.
Huh. Funny enough, I finished it and I thought it was just alright. But that was a few years ago, and I was mostly saying that for the sake of being weird, I guess. But I am curious about if my thoughts have changed.
Well, why don't we find out, Retro, my boy?
Yeah! I mean, look at me. I'm not gonna stay like this forever, right? Well, here's a little history something I didn't know before. Apparently, this game wasn't meant for the 360 or PS3, and wasn't originally a Sonic game.
Tell me more.
Well, it was gonna be a game for the PS2 and GameCube generation, with its unique physics and such. But then, while Sega was working on the next Sonic game, they noticed that it would line up with the series' 15th anniversary. So then Sega told Sonic Team to combine the two together, and game time.
Time game.
And so it was released for the 360 during the Christmas holidays of 2006, and then later for the PS3. So is this game any fun?
Let's get moving!
So, the game starts off with this surprisingly well animated CGI cutscene that does a really decent job of conveying what's happening here. Elise, or as I like to call her, Carrot Legs, is the princess of the kingdom of Soliana, and her kingdom is having a big old festival celebrating the Flames of Disaster, which are sealed within Carrot Legs. Eggman would like to—
Hold it! Hold everything! That's not him! That's an abomination. I'm fine with the whole realistic people with Sonic characters stuff and everything, but Eggman, why? Your mustache got bigger.
As I was saying, Eggman would like to acquire the Flames of Disaster from Carrot Legs for reasons. So Eggman manages to capture Elise, but then Sonic shows up for reasons to save Elise. And well, he succeeds at first, but then like an absolute loser, looks away for 2 seconds and she already gets kidnapped again. She then proceeds to give our boy Sonic a Chaos Emerald. Our objective is now clear: save Elise.
And that's pretty much it for the story. It goes a lot deeper than that, but we'll touch on that later. For now, let's talk about how the game plays. Well, for starters, we've got a hub world. Neat. It seems fine, I guess. There's 3 of them, levels, of course, a shop in each for power-ups, and even missions. So there's the first level. I guess I had to get the tin to do the lightspeed dash first. No problem. Oh, right. I have to buy it. How do you get rings besides these acts? The missions. I guess that's why they're here. Okay, loading. Yep, okay. Oh, another loading. That's weird. Alrighty, go through the rings. Oh, another loading screen. The heck? Okay, got an S rank. That's pretty sweet, I guess. And then another loading. Okay, let me break down the issues. First, this hub world is bad. What makes it so bad, you may ask? Well, how about not knowing where to go? There's this mini-map that gives you some idea of what's around you, and some of the peoples will sometimes give you hints, but most of the time, you'll get lost. It's rare to find anyone important to talk to, and when you do find someone, they're like, go to the train station. Where is it, you moron? Like, if you could just pause the game and have a map of the entire area, that'd be great. But no! Issue number 2, the missions. On paper, they sound harmless. However, the missions are optional, and then there are the ones that you have to do to progress into the story. That's fine and everything, but which ones do I have to do? None of them seem important anyway. Go for rings, defeat all of the enemies under a time limit, find a dog, guess the number of boxes that are there, find these stupid kids! With the annoying ones, you could spend an hour on one. And after you've finally done it, oh look, it was optional. What fun! And there's no incentive to do them anyway. All you get are rings which you can use to buy power-ups, which I'll get into later. But when you can get more rings in the axe and avoid most of the annoying stuff, yeah, the missions suck. And 3, the loading times. They're long and they're everywhere. I can deal with the long loading times, no problem. Growing up, we had a lot of scratched PS1 and PS2 discs on the PS2 system that has seen better days. We don't talk about why those discs are scratched. However, there are loading screens in places where there shouldn't be loading screens. For missions, talk to someone, load. They explain, load. You fail, load. They scold you, load. Talk to them again, load. So on, so on. And in the axe, there are certain sections that are cut off by loading screens. This by itself wouldn't be so bad if there weren't so god-franking many of them. Man, could you imagine if there were loading screens for every time you died too?
So already it's painfully obvious that this game has really dumb design choices that, of course, could have been saved with more development time. But you know, Sega does what Nintendo don't. The physics are an interesting one because they are by no means good. But like, personally, for most of my experiences playing the game, it wasn't something I was paying much attention to. Sonic controls really meh, and to be honest doesn't feel that fast, which is one of the worst things to say about a Sonic game. Another gripe I have is that there's no timed indicators that show what button you should press for when you might have to do something like a wall jump. You just get this one line of dialogue from this old guy that tells you what to do, and that's it. That's all the info you get, and that's not to mention that wall jumping in this game is stupid. But we can talk more about that when we talk about level design.
Sonic's physics in 3D games have never been perfect. From Adventure to the Boost series, there has always been some sort of issue, and this game is no exception. They had a neat idea with fixing the issue, I'll give them that. However, it kinda doesn't work. Sonic just feels so stiff to control. His momentum is all over the place when jumping, the homing attack is just slow, and Sonic is actually a lot slower. Apart from when he uses speed boosters, his top speed is capped. I guess that gives you more control, but at the same time, it's not fun. And when he goes beyond that speed cap, I'm not prepared, so I bump into every turn. Okay, well, the adventure games had that issue too. Not to mention that its minor glitches combined with the levels can really get in the way at times, but we'll touch on that later too. Also, really, Fangirl? The quick time events give you trouble?
Shut up or else your pizza will be gone forever.
It's all I have left, you mainstay!
Ugh, man. What happened? I think I blacked out. Well, physics aside, Sonic plays exactly how you would expect.
Aside from being slow.
You run around, use your homing attacks to defeat your enemies, all that stuff. The spin dash returns, though it's pretty bad, so meh. Along with the bouncing ball. He bounces. That one. You know the one. However, they removed one tiny little thing. The spin jump. I'm sure many people just ignored this or something. But not me. I'm mad. Like, what? Just because the homing attack was so useful, so it's the only thing you have now? What's the point of Sonic being a hedgehog at this point? What about when he bounces? Is he just giving off magic energy? Actually, what does he do if he can attack with a homing attack but not a spin jump?
A sfoaming Jamak.
What kind of Sonic game calls itself the Sonic the Hedgehog but doesn't do the Sonic stuff? Wait, what the heck did you just call it?
A sfoaming Jamak?
The heck is a small a low show topo. Screw it, I'm too tired for this crap.
Good, as you should, as one should never question the sacred foaming Jamak.
Because of how the physics work and everything, using a homing attack is so slow. And there are enemies with health bars too! Ah! You're better off using the slide or bounce move, since that'll deal more damage. And then there are the gem power-ups. Ooh boy, let me tell ya, they do not work at all. What's supposed to happen is, as you use them, this meter is supposed to go down. But because the game is so buggy, that never happens. There's the one that lets you do a spin tornado, it's useless anyway. There's the one that gets you a speed boost and bump you into everything. One where you can slow down time just a bit. One where you can pause your homing attack mid-air, also useless. One where you get an electric shield, okay. One where you throw a gem and Sonic teleports there, and one where he goes small, for some reason. None of them are required at all. Some of them actually do help a bit, but not by that much. However, the last two gems are especially broken. If you use a teleport gem while at a wall and aiming upwards, you can go higher than you're supposed to and go out of bounds. And with the small gem, you can jump infinitely. Forever. How the heck did that happen?
Again, a great example of how the release date was more important than the
quality?
Yeah, quality of the product. So now let's talk levels. I'd say the levels in this game are pretty decent. There's some sections where things aren't immediately clear, but the help box thingies do give you most of the information you would need.
That's not a box.
Indeed. There are some level design choices which aren't the smartest. Speed boosters literally don't add any speed. That's a lie, but shut up. The water sliding keeps you at a constant velocity and tries to hold your hand and lead you the right way, but does a terrible job, and if you dare try and control it by yourself, you end up not reaching where you had to reach in the first place. It's controllable, but it's just not intuitive. Also, the game doesn't do this for the majority of the time, but specifically when you have to take out a group of enemies to progress, the game really doesn't let you know about it, and it can be really frustrating to think that you might be missing something just to figure out you have to defeat a few enemies. QuickTime events, as I said before, I don't particularly like because of the lack of UI to indicate when you might need to do something, but it's not a huge deal. One good thing I'd like to say is that the music in these levels straight up slap!
Yeah, I agree with you there. The level designs are pretty good. Not too linear, but not too confusing either. There are moments that kinda don't work at times, and the physics make them not as fun as they should be, but otherwise, they're okay. The only real issue is that they take a bit longer to beat than I would have liked, and that's without all the loadings in them. I mean, look at this. Nearly 10 minutes. And I got an S rank. In addition to, well, what you see so far, there's also the sections where you carry Elise or run even faster. The Elise sections are honestly no different than what you're used to. The only new thing is that you now have a shield that'll help you across sand or water. That's pretty much it. Heck, you can even still do the homing attack. How are you doing that? And then there's the speed sections where Sonic runs pretty fast with no way of stopping him. There's a few problems with this one. One, you cannot move while jumping, so don't bother unless you have to. Two, everything will damage you and you can't get your fallen rings back, so be careful. And 3, if you do the light speed dash, Sonic will go even faster, which will make it all harder. So these sections suck, which is a real shame because it's a really neat idea. Oh, and the snowboarding parts suck too. Pretty broken. Forgot to add it in. Sorry.
This game, following the ways of its predecessors, has 3 different aspects / missions of the story that join up at different points within the narrative. In this game you can play Mission Sonic, which we just covered, Mission Shadow, and Mission It's No Use! Sorry, I mean Mission Silver. So let's start off with Mission Silver. Silver is a new addition to the Sonic cast, whose only major role ever was basically in 06, but he does appear in a few other games, including Sonic Rivals and Sonic Forces. And let me tell you, he's not an optimist. Don't include that laugh, please. So we start off Mission Silver with him flying through what seems to be a post-apocalyptic... So we start off Mission Silver with him flying through what seems to be a post-apocalyptic... So we start off Mission Silver with him flying through what seems to be a post-apocalyptic city in the future. That looks a bit like Station Square, which is pretty cool, I guess. As he's flying, a giant fire tornado, I guess, appears, and he then proceeds to use some kind of power to extinguish it. As this all happens, he's monologuing and asking himself how the world ended up like it did. We learn that the cause of all that we see was the doing of the Flames of the Desert, which have a cute little name. Iblis. We then meet a character named Blaze, one of my personal favorites.
Wait the heck up. Blaze? In the future? I thought she was from another dimension. What's going on here? Okay, so apparently this game is a reboot, with all the characters' backstory from the other games removed. Which I guess is why Eggman is now a human or whatever. Oops. Anyway, continue, Fan Owl.
So Blaze apparently spotted an Iblis monster. I guess it has little children or something, which makes it so much cuter. We then have a little boss fight, and my, I gotta say, the CGI cutscenes do look really beautiful, and while in general, the in-game graphics of the game are pretty meh, for some reason in the future areas, the game looks really good, so props to that. After beating the baby Iblis, Silver notes that even though they defeated it for now, it'll just come back again, which shows that no matter what they do, things just repeat in an infinite loop.
But what happens if we go to the origins of the loop and stop the loop from ever happening?
Enter Mephiles. After Silver asks how one could completely destroy Iblis, a voice tells him that he has to know the truth of Iblis. The source of this voice is a figure who almost completely resembles Shadow except for the fact that his quills have a faint blue highlight instead of a red one, he has no mouth, and well, his eyes make him look like a lizard. 10 out of 10 character design, let's go Sega. He also has one of the best themes for a villain in any Sonic game. Also, his animations get a bit sloppy at times, and there's unnecessary camera zooms to his face that make me take him 10 times less seriously. He brings Silver and Blaze to some room in a building with a lot of computers? Is this a computer room? A computer room?! Mephiles tells the two that to fix the current reality they're living, they have to destroy the original source of Iblis by doing some time travel!
But that's impossible!
Anyways, blah blah blah, Mephiles is basically God or something and can time travel, so he tells them about what the cause of Iblis is. The Iblis Trigger! Mephiles tells Silver and Blaze that the Iblis Trigger is Sonic Coco to Hedgehog. Now Silver's goal is clear, destroy Sonic and save his world. Him and Blaze now go
back in time. With Shadow's story.
Let's get moving!
We start with him infiltrating one of Eggman's bases to save Rouge under the orders of Gun. Wait, he works for them now? Whatever, I can get around that. After saving her, it turns out she's holding a purple thingamajig.
The Scepter of Darkness.
After escorting her to a rendezvous point in Kingdom Valley, good old Eggy Egg surrounds them, tries to catch the tin, it falls and breaks, it scares Eggman off, this cloud escapes and goes into Shadow's shadow, and appears as Mephiles, which sends him and Rouge to the future. The same future as Silver's actually. So yep, this is the main bad guy. Okay, if you don't know by this point, the story is a bit of a mess. Elise is a stupid character who gets captured again and again and again. At least with Princess Peach, she gets captured once per game. She adds nothing to the story other than the fact that, spoilers, I think, she is the vessel that contains
the Flames of Disaster,
which will escape if she ever cries. She also serves as a new love relationship between her and Sonic. I will say this, I don't think it's as weird as the rest of the community makes it out to be. I mean, there's media like Beauty and the Beast, and even Sonic was supposed to have a human girlfriend in the first game. That being said, there's something about it I just find odd. I don't know, just something that's there but I can't quite put my finger on it. And of course there's time travel. Don't get me started on that. As we all know, if not used the right way, it can cause some major confusion. For example, how did Iblis happen? I think it's because of when Eggman kidnapped Elise again, and they crashed for some strange reason, and she died, but look, no flames, so that can't be it. And on top of that, once Iblis was out, surely Mephiles would have combined with him there and then. I mean, fire dude, he would have broken out by then, and even then, freaking Rouge dropped it! If you know what becomes of the future, then just freaking wait a while! What the heck? Oh yeah, he wants to fuse with Iblis to become Solaris and destroy the world. We'll touch on that later. Although this bit's where Shadow uses Chaos Control to kick Silva on the back of the head. Solid gold right there.
Also, around that time, we meet probably the worst character of the game, Elise's dad. He's so completely useless and annoying and basically caused everything because of the dumb trope, oh my wife died, Anyways, he sucks and I refuse to speak of him more.
Whoa, okay dude, calm down. Well, anyway, just like Sonic Adventure 2, you can play as 3 characters in each story. Of course, you know Sonic. There's Tails, who is so god slow! Weren't the reason you had Tails in the first place so you can keep up with Sonic? What is this? And why is this his attack? Okay, to explain a bit, he can now throw dummy rings which will damage enemies. This could have been avoided if he could just use the freaking spin jump! Next, there's Knuckles, who plays exactly like the last games, only this time you're not collecting pieces of the Master Emerald. You're just trying to figure out where the heck to go. Why does he need so much space? Why? Then there's Shadow with his story. He plays very similar to Sonic, only this time his homing attacks have more combat moves to them. While they certainly help with enemies with health bars, when you're trying to move on, it's even slower. Also, he can drive vehicles, and they all suck. Literally, anytime he drives, it's not fun. Next, there's Rouge, who plays like Knuckles, but has bombs that's similar to Tails' ring dummies. Why is she like this? Also, the levels are just as annoying as Knuckles. Then there's Omega, who is slow, and slow. There's not much to say with him. With Silver in his story, oh boy. He is super slow, can't attack enemies unless he's carrying other stuff using his psychokinesis and throwing them at them, and if you want to be stupid, go right up to the hitboxes and stun them. I like the concept, but he's slower than the Sega CD. And why can't anyone spin jump? Also, the ball part sucks so much. You have a limited amount of times you can hit it, and it has to go in the hole in the end, but not these ones or else you will have to start again. Just go past the door using this box. You'll thank me later. Next is Blaze, who is honestly the most fun to play as. Too bad she doesn't show up as much. She could double jump, fire spin, and home attack from the ground. Simple but fun. And finally, Amy Rose. Don't ask. She's even slower than Silver, believe it or not. Her only attack is her hammer, and she can turn invisible? The heck? How? So yeah, if you couldn't tell, none of them are as fun as Sonic, with the exception of Blaze.
So we've mentioned too many times that this game was rushed, and with any rushed game, there will be glitches, and boy howdy are there a lot in this one. Probably one of the most popular glitches is the upside down loop glitch. Basically, when on a loop surface, Sonic's gravity physics don't work, but the devs assume you'd only ever be running on a loop, which would make the effect work. But if you do manage to stop running, well, you get Spider-Hog.
Spider-Hog, Spider-Hog, running fast in the foggy bog, bruh. Yeah, there's so many glitches here. Some minor ones like how Sonic controls and everything, but also ones like the gems. Like, this is a game mechanic, how could you not see this? And don't get me started on the boxes.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
And the physics with the boxes and enemies. The rings are a little annoying. I'm just trying to collect them, but I keep moving away. This is dumb. But I just love messing around. Bad guy go whee! Sometimes it's not fun and there are one too many glitches. But there's also the ones that are just fun to mess around with. Yeah, this is what I live for. Enter the Dragonfly is different. Oh yeah, there's also the multiplayer mode. If you can convince a friend to play with you, you get to either work together or against each other to reach the goal. You can play as either Sonic, Shadow, or Silver. This means that each level has to be designed around all of the hedgehogs, because one of them is a frickin' turtle. However, the amount of crap that happens, I just love it. You may not succeed, but at least you can laugh about it with someone.
The Sonic series has been a hit or miss with bosses, and this was a miss. I can declare that I don't really like a single boss in this game. Egg Cerberus is a boss in which by riding its head you have to make it run into something. The thing is, the AI for the boss is a bit silly and the physics for riding the things isn't the best. It's pretty unresponsive in my experience, and on top of that the animations for it look terrible. The second Iblis boss battle, it kinda sucks too. Only good part is Rouge being dumb and Shadow saying, "Don't touch it!" There's these platforms and if you stand on one long enough, Iblis will jump onto it to attack you. But there's these little gem thingies that if Iblis jumps on, stun it, and then you can attack a weak spot that looks like an eye. Because the game is too scared to make actual sense, after dealing damage you go flying in the air like 5 times just so it can reset the platform so that Iblis can destroy the old ones. It's just so stupid and such a lazy segue to a new segment of the boss battle. Iblis also does a funny dance, but yeah, not a fun battle overall. Mephiles' boss battles are just clone battles, but he's weak to guns, which is hilarious. Anyways, boring. Next. You fight Sonic in this game, and it's so stupidly easy I won't even talk about it, but as you'll see with another certain character, boss voice lines are broken so badly, it's actually sad. I'll admit, the third time you fight Iblis is actually pretty fun, because throwing stuff with Silver can be fun at times. And now, the best boss battle. Not because it's good, no, it's because it's no use! Silver's broken and easy at the same time. If you get stuck in his, as I like to call them, useless traps, then you may as well quit. If not, you win, and that's basically Silver. The rest of the bosses aren't terrible in my opinion, and are pretty average boss fights, so I won't talk about them here.
When it comes to the graphics, they're alright. I mean, the CGI looks amazing if you ignore the movements and everything. And as for the in-game cutscenes, yeah, it's a downgrade, but for an early 7th gen game, it's good. And really, the only bad model is Sonic himself. Everyone looks fine in my opinion. However, it is weird that the lip syncing is so off. I mean, just look at this.
His power can change time, and even manipulate the fabric of time itself.
And speak of people talking, I just like how lazy they were with the NPCs.
Hey.
I mean, could they not record more lines? And what's even weirder is this lady is the only one with fully voiced dialogue.
This is terrible. Princess Elise went to see Eggman by herself.
It's weird. As for music, it's great, it's good, it's beautiful. That's just a tradition. And no matter how bad a Sonic game is, the music is gonna be amazing.
I agree, the music really is amazing. But what's sad is that you can see that the most effort went into the music and CGI.
So, for the ending, Sonic beats Eggman and saves the princess. Shadow takes off his ring tinnies and does a dash towards Mephiles.
Let's get moving!
And Silver tries to use the Chaos Emeralds to seal Iblis within him, but
it's no use!
So Blaze does it instead and gets sent off to another dimension. After all of that, you get the last story. Okay, so apparently Mephiles is still alive, finds a Chaos Emerald, distracts Sonic, and impales him. And Sonic dies. Sonic freaking dies! Sonic the Hedgehog, family fun for everyone. So, because of love, I guess, Elise cries, Iblis is set free, they both combined, Solaris, and Bright Lights. So, everyone is in a space-time pocketing, while everywhere in time and space is being consumed and stuff. Everyone is sad about Sonic dead. Wait, why is Silver here? So they all go and get the Chaos Emeralds because apparently that can revive him. Dragon Ball. Yeah, that's right, I know my stuff. But let me tell you, this is the most hardest and stupidest part of the whole game! These space hole tennies will give you an instant death. It's not so bad at first, but then you get to Knuckles. Where in the name of Fudge Nuggets is our freaking emerald? And by the time you do find it, all of your lives are gone. So, oops, do the whole thing again! But once you do all of that, Elise kisses Sonic and he comes back to life as Super Sonic. Hello there, and welcome to my show. My name is Papa Retro, and this is my good friend,
Sunny Bangle.
And today we are making the kiss of life. First, we're going to just add a bit of jelly bean stones.
A hint of cringe.
Then we mix it in with some power orange of time traveling poops.
Give it some zap power of the foaming jamac.
And finally a subscribe button for all the friends and families at home.
Huh? That wasn't on the ingredient list.
So after that, Sonic shares his superpowers with Shadow and Silver, and then they go off to fight Solaris. This boss is honestly meh. I mean, there hasn't been any really good 3D Sonic final bosses.
Dark Gaia is amazing, what are you talking about?
But it's not bad either. It's just boring. The music, however, in this world, your life is wrong. In this world, love's an open board. In this world, the compromise does not exist. In this world, of whatever is the rest. And after all of that, yeah, you can't really beat him or something. You then time travel to where it all started, for whatever reason. With the Solaris project? Oh yeah, that's the thing that can let you travel through time. The thing Phantom Wall was mad about with the father. With that being no more than a tiny flame. If they put it out, all the stuff that happened would never happen. But because Sonic and Elise would have never met, she doesn't want to. Freaking idiot. So Sonic tells her to do it, she does it, and all the events reset. So there you go. Sonic 06 never happened in the first place. Oops. And that was Sonic 06. What do we think of it? Well, you first, I guess.
This game has a lot of flaws, and it really didn't do well for Sonic's 3D reputation. As bad as it can be at times, I have to admit, it's still fun to play because it's so iconic, and it is vaguely playable too. I like to revisit it and the things that surround it because it was a part of my childhood, and it shows me even though the game is by no means good, there's still a lot of fun to be had with it, and for that, I'm glad I was able to review it and give my honest opinions on it, regardless of the fact that I didn't compliment it all that much.
This game was rushed beyond belief. It's lost the magic of Yuji Naka halfway through development, the guy who programmed all the Sonic games up to that point. And because they really wanted a Sonic game for the Wii, Sonic's team's staff was split into two, with the viewer half working on this game, while the other half did Sonic and the Secret Ring. So with short time on their hands, few staff, and the magic gone, it's no wonder why it failed. Heck, they even ignored quality checks. The story makes no sense, the gameplay is buggy, none of the characters are fun, anything new wasn't done good, so many glitches, and overall, not a good game. That being said, man, I just love messing around. All these glitches, multiplayer, and the sad fact that this was the last we'd ever see of the adventure games. It's a guilty pleasure of mine and I ain't afraid to talk about it. It's not good at all, not by a long shot, but you can sure have fun. Also, fun fact, if you look in the credits, you can see that the voice cast was from the 4Kids dubbing. 4Kids, eh?
I'm impressed, Retro. Not many people can tackle this game and come back in one piece. Good job. Now let's move on.
Cool. What do we got? I'm ready for anything.
Actually, it's another Metroid game.
What? More Metroid?
Well, yeah, but there's actually a new one coming out soon. Or maybe it's out by the time this video is released.
Well, alright. Might as well get this finished. Well, I'm back with some more Metroid. Anyone excited? What do you mean no? Super Metroid was met with great success when it came out. Fast forward to a year later when the then named Ultra 64 was announced, Nintendo's leap into full 3D. Surely there would be a new 3D Metroid game for the system. I mean, if you want to count it, Samus was in original Smash Bros. Cool. But then, there was a GameCube at the Space World 2000 with a small glimpse of a 3D Metroid game in the works, Metroid Prime. Then a year later at E3, not only was there new information about the game, but there was another Metroid game in the works titled Metroid 4, which later became Fusion, taking the traditional 2D style and putting it on the Game Boy Advance. In my opinion, it's a win-win decision. If people don't like the new 3D style, they'll play Fusion, and if they're bored of the 2D style, they'll play Prime. And so, Metroid Fusion was released for the GPA in 2002 and 2003. Will this game live up to Super? Let's find out! The story takes place a few years after Super Metroid. Samus has been hired as a bodyguard for the biological space labs while they studied life on SR388. After killing this thing, Samus gets attacked by an unknown life form. Not thinking much of it, because that's not gonna bite you later. She carries out the rest of the mission and heads back to her ship. However, while on the way, the life form later known as the X-Parasite, or simply X, infects her nervous system and Samus loses consciousness, leaving her ship to drift off into an asteroid belt. Don't worry though, the ship ejects an escape pod, and Samus is now with the Galactic Federation. Unfortunately, the X-Parasite has multiplied and even infected her power suit. And because the power suit has become integrated with her, it couldn't be removed while she was unconscious. Apparently. So they had to surgically remove the infected parts. However, since the X-Parasite is deep stuck inside Samus' nervous system, she was given a low survival chance. That is until someone came in with a vaccine that contained a cell of the last Metroid baby, which I guess they kept around. You see, the Metroids were immune to the X-Parasites. After injecting it, the X-Parasite was completely destroyed. Soon after Samus wakes up, there was a distress signal about an explosion at the BSL ship. And so Samus was sent on a mission to investigate it with her new temporary ship. Oh yeah, she's blue now. Soon after, it is discovered that the X-Parasite is on board the ship. From that point onward, it is your job to do various tasks, find out what's going on, and ultimately stop the X-Parasite. The story has more interesting points and stuff, but we'll talk about that later. So, what to talk about first? How about the parasites themselves? They will serve as your main enemies for the game. For you see, once they kill their host, they will mimic it. So all of those SR388 creatures, they're not real. They are all fake. Oh, and space pirates too. Don't recall ever encountering the space pirates, but maybe they killed some at one point? Luckily, they're no different than what you're used to. Once you kill one, the X-Parasites will be left floating around. And since Samus is immune to them, she can absorb them for health and missile ammo. This, I don't get. I mean, health is understandable, but missiles? In other words, they replace the health and ammo pickups. This, along with the fact that if you leave them alone, they will respawn an enemy, makes things slightly interesting. Once they're there, you want to absorb them. It's not much, but it's kinda neat. Now that we've got that small detail out of the way, let's talk about how the game plays. Well, for starters, the map is exactly like Super Metroid. Only better. It tells you where the doors are and when you've got an item. That was literally all I was asking for, and they did it! Yes! Look, I have played this game a long time ago on my 3DS, but that was a really long time ago, and I promise you I forgot all about how the maps were. In addition to that, you're now told where to go. What? Every time you enter a new place, you're given a map right from the start. And you're told where to go. And you have to go back to the navigation room to progress, and Adam the computer tells her where to go next. Oh, I should probably explain this. Samus later names the computer Adam, since it reminded her of an old Federation CEO she used to work under while she worked for the Federation. And yes, she used to work for them until she became a bounty hunter. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. While you were pointed towards the general location in Zero Mission, this was when you had no map and you still had to find certain statues. Not to mention, while fun, I find these areas pretty small. I mean, sure, there's still areas hidden to the map, and sometimes it took me a while to figure out how to get around, but they don't happen often. You know where to go, and you go. There's also these locked doors that are blocked away, so you'll have to keep going with the story to the point where you unlock them and then go back. Don't get me wrong, I love linear gameplay, I know, but this was not the game to try it with. I guess it makes sense since they wanted to try a deeper story and this was the easiest way to go. And while it is alright, I don't think it was worth it. At least Samus controls fine. Everything you knew in Super is here, with the exception of the run button, but I don't think anyone's gonna cry over it. The wall jumping was also nerfed a bit, which makes sense since, in the right hands, that could cause some sequence breaking in the game. There are some new things like clinging onto edges and climbing on certain walls and ceilings, but that's pretty much it. To be fair, there wasn't much else that could be added. However, I think it should be noted that Samus takes a lot more damage than usual. I think this is mostly because of her losing most of her suits or having the Metroid vaccine, but come on Nintendo, was the jump in difficulty really necessary? Even when you're all powerful and everything, enemies could take about 50 points off your health, and the X-Parasites don't give back much. If I'm gonna be honest, I'm not exactly the best Metroid player out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the previous games don't give you that much damage, and even when they eventually do, you've got the Failure Suit or Gravity Suit. Heck, even the NES game wasn't this brutal in terms of damage taken. But speaking of which, along your journey, you'll come across these large blue X-Parasites, which I'll nickname the X-Ice. Sounds like Egg Slice. These new X variants will freeze Samus once they come into contact with her. You see, while the vaccine grants you invulnerability to the X-Parasites, it comes with a downfall in which Samus is weak to extreme cold temperatures, much like the Metroids themselves. And these stupid tins deal a lot of damage, so it's best to stun them with your arm cannon and move before they rush in on you. Luckily, the various suits not only protect you from hot areas, but also from the cold, so you can go back to them and absorb a lot of health. That's right, you floating icicles, you better run. But the X-Ice aren't the only new variants. There's also the SAX. Remember when I said how the X-Parasites kill their hosts and imitate them? Well, I guess because Samus was supposed to be dead or something, there's now a complete evil copy of Samus. Only one problem. It has all of your old moves, and by the first time you meet it, you're still weak to ice. So if you see it, run. This tin is relentless. It can kill you with only a few shots, and if you're not thinking straight, you will die. You've got to be sneaky, and you've got to be fast. Luckily though, the AI ain't the smartest at times. This is honestly kinda cool. Terrifyingly cool. If it wasn't for my stupidity at times, I'd love it even more. But now we get to the items. The way you get them works differently now. For whatever reason, pieces of your infected suit were left back on the BSL ship. Kind of a dumb move, but it is what it is. This means that to get your powers back, you'll either have to destroy the bosses, or download data sent from the Federation. Most of the familiar stuff you're used to is back. A Morph Ball, Morph Bomb, Power Bombs, Charge Beam, Wave Beam, Plasma Beam, Wide Beam, Speed Booster, High Jump, Screw Attack, and Jump Ball. Yeah, that's right, I didn't miss that sucker this time. The space jump has improved a bit. There's the Failure Suit that I brought up. By the way, that suit looks ugly. His colors look all screwed up. Along with the Gravity Suit, and I've checked, it protects you from lava. The Super Missiles are now more of an upgrade to your normal missiles, which is a plus for me. But there's also the Ice Missiles. Yes, the Ice Missiles, replacing the Ice Beam since, apparently because of the new ice weakness, the beam would be rejected, but missiles are fine? I don't know. And the final upgrade to them, the Diffusion Missiles. By charging the missile button and releasing it, the ice effects will have a wider effect. It's not much, but it can certainly be helpful sometimes. And that's all. No grappling beam or X-ray scope. Not a major loss, but they're gone. So yeah, the power-ups are similar to Super Metroid. The game also looks very similar to that game too. I mean, makes sense, considering this is a GBA we're talking about. Not much to say about them, apart from those still images, which look nice for the time. The music though, honestly, I find pretty weak. The only theme I can remember liking was the intro. That's it. It's not bad, but it's nowhere as good as the other games. So time for the bosses. Oh boy! They are so freaking hard! Maybe it's because of my skills or the fact that Samus takes way more damage than usual, but I got a couple of game overs from them, not counting the SAX encounters. And keep in mind, I didn't get a single game over in Metroid 2 or Super. And the later bosses, it's like, how are you supposed to not take a hit? Look at you, ugly face! But after you defeat them, you still have to fight the X-Parasite itself, who's gained some sort of a membrane, I guess. But once that's done, here's your new ability. You've defeated a couple of dudes or dudettes and all. Time to enter this little place. Oh, would you look at that? The Metroids are back! So, Metroids? And then the SAX tries to destroy them. Probably because they're both enemies. The section detaches and explodes. And Adam is not very happy about this. Okay, so apparently the Federation was cloning and breeding Metroids for peaceful applications. Okay, I can understand to some extent holding one baby Metroid, but breeding an entire species of Metroids? Not to mention the evolutions, which I fail to see how they can produce energy. You freaking ordered Samus to exterminate the Metroids! Even lost them to the space pirates twice! And now you're telling me they need them? For what? Extra energy? After bidding them too dangerous? Samus isn't happy about the Metroids being there. Adam tells her to continue. He fights the X copied readily. No, seriously. Why are there space pirates? And now Adam tells Samus that she is no longer needed. New info. There are more than one SAX because they can multiply. And now the Federation are on the way because they want to use the X-Parasites and the SAX. Why? The fudgicles if I know. So Samus refuses. Adam locks her in the room. She gets the idea to set it all to self-destruct. She asks him to let her go by calling his name. He's confused, she explains, and he suggests her to send the space station on a crash course to SR388 to completely destroy the X-Parasites for good. She's going to blow up another planet. Oh, and as to why he made that suggestion, apparently when the real Adam died, his mind or whatever was uploaded to the ship's computer. So off to set course for destruction. But oh no! It's the SAX! So it's a battle, and it turns into this. 10. We destroy it, but it escapes before we can absorb it. We set the course. Countdown. Our ship is missing. Boom! An Omega Metroid! How the heck did it escape? But whatever, time to fight. Oh. That's a strong one. But whoa! It's back! And after it gets destroyed, we absorb it and get all of our original power back. And it's time to send this space dude to the outer reaches of Screw You! After that, the space station is destroyed along with the planet. Then Samus reflects on what happened, wondering if the Federation will hunt her down. But then Adam reassures her that someone will understand, ending the game. Oh yeah, those creatures from Super are back. Cool. And as for my score? Okay, look, about the items. After I got the final power up, I wasn't able to go back to the other places to get the rest of the energy tanks and missile expansions. I mean, there is this place, but how was I supposed to know? And that was Metroid Fusion. What do I think of it? Well, look, I enjoyed what I played. I really did. It's just, the amount of damage Samus is dealt makes it way too hard for my taste, and it's a lot linear for a Metroid game. I know what I said in my Metroid 2 review, but at least you were still able to explore a bit freely. As much as I liked some of it, I'd just rather play the other games. Not the first Metroid though, it ain't that unbearable, but it's pretty low. Okay, I'm ready for Metroid Dread. Woo! Right, so 3000. Hello? Well, that just happened. Well, here it is. Metroid Dread. The game started development in 2005 and again in 2008. Both prototypes were for the Nintendo DS, but were ultimately shut down by Yoshi Sakamoto. He wanted to create an unsettling, fear-based gameplay for Metroid Dread, but it was too hard for the DS to do, so the idea was shelved. The game started appearing in magazines in 2005, but was never officially revealed. Even had a small Easter egg in Metroid Prime 3 with the information of Dread near completion. So it was either in development hell or just plain cancelled. And that was mostly the case until a remake of Metroid 2 for the 3DS, called Metroid Samus Returns, was done with the help of Mercury Steam. Nintendo was so impressed by the work and knowledge that they gave them Metroid Dread to work on. And then, at E3 2021, everyone lost their minds. This would be the first new 2D Metroid game in 19 years, finally continuing the original story after Fusion. This game's reveal made all other Metroid games on the Wii U go up in sales, became the most pre-ordered game after that E3. Even Nintendo went nuts on advertising the game. And then, on the 8th of October, it's finally released. Will this game be as good as the hype? Guess we're about to find out. Before we talk about the game's story, I feel like now is a good time to go over a bit of Samus' backstory. Basically, Ridley killed Samus' parents when she was a little girl, and she alone survived. She was adopted by a dying race known as the Chozo, and took her back to the planet Zebes. They gave her Chozo DNA and even the parasuits which they created. Remember all those statues that had the items? They're all Chozo statues from when they were on said planet. After a couple of years, the space pirates took over the planet and killed all the Chozos. Samus once again survived and eventually joined the Galactic Federation. Oh, and of course, the origins of the Metroids. The planet SR388 was overrun by the X-Parasites, so the Chozo created the Metroids to take care of the problem. Unfortunately, they themselves were also killer machines, so they had no choice but to leave them in the undergrounds of the planets. And then all the events of Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, you get the idea. So, after the events of Metroid Fusion, the Galactic Federation received a video file from the planet CDR, showing an X-Parasite. To figure things out, they sent 7 EMI robots to the planet to pick up samples. However, all contact was soon lost with them. So, as the only one immune to the X-Parasite, Samus was given the task to go down to the planet and investigate. Upon arrival, Samus encounters a dark-looking Chozo who attacks her. After charging his cannon, a thing happens, and now Samus lost all of her power-ups again. By this point, your main objective is to get back to your ship at the surface by navigating through the planet. And that's pretty much it for the beginning. There's more that unveils, but I'll get to that later. And while I do think that it's weird that the Galactic Federation saw what Samus has done in Fusion and just went, okay, it's a bit of wasted potential, but hey, what's there is good. So let's check out the gameplay. Well, for starters, this is the best controls for any Metroid game I have ever played. Jumping is good, the wall jumping is so satisfying, everything. Even shooting. You can attack just like the other games, only this time you have this free aim mode where you can shoot more accurately and aim a lot more, well, freely. The only downside is that you can't move while doing this, and I feel like it should have been done with the right control stick rather than the L button, but it's still a blessing. No more having to get into position all the dang time. There's also this counter-attack that can sorta give you a bit of distance between enemies, but when timed right, you can give them an instant death shot straight after. They should have just straight up called it an instant death shot. I'm copyrighting that. In addition to getting more health and missile ammo, it's the quickest way to deal with enemies until you get more power-ups. You can slide under small spaces and even go into a morph ball automatically depending on where the space is. It's all just so good. I mean, it did take a while to get used to after playing the other games, especially the wall jumping, but I believe this is the definitive controls for a Metroid game. With the exception of the aim button not being mapped to the right stick. As for the levels, well, let's break that down first. Aiden the computer is back, and while he does tell you what to do, he never tells you where to go. That's all up to you. I like that. You're given a hint of what you're looking for, but you're still exploring, and that's what Metroid is all about. Good on you, Mercury. The map is so much better too. Rather than going for the grid-based map, it's completely... what's the word? It's better. There are colored areas to tell you which type of rooms are save points and other stuff. Certain areas glow to indicate where a hidden item may be. You can even see said item on the map once you find it, so you can go back later. In fact, the map tells you where everything is. Of course, once you go there. And there's even a percentage to tell you if you found everything in... well, I can't say area or not because I was talking about the save rooms and such. Bigger areas? And you can also use a limited amount of markers to give yourself a guide of some sort. As for the rest of the gameplay itself, well, you can use the missiles to uncover hidden blocks, much like the morph bombs. There's a door that requires most of the power-ups, even a charge beam, which I still find funny. But it doesn't tell you what kind of door it is until you get to the required power-up. On top of the elevators and transportations to get to the different bigger areas, there are also these teleporters so you can travel a little easier. And there's even checkpoints before bosses and enemy areas, the latter which I'll get to later. These are so you don't have to go all the way back to try again, but they don't save your file, which is fair. And that's how I describe it all. It's hard and confusing, but it's never unfair. Not sure where to go? Try shooting everywhere and placing morph bombs. Maybe there's a place you haven't checked on the map yet. And sure, by the sounds of it, it seems like it's just gonna be dumb luck. But it's not that. Whenever I get stuck for an hour, I go to this place and I go, oh, of course. Once again, I'm not the greatest Metroid player out there, so take my word for it. And of course, there's the power-ups. What Metroid game would be a Metroid game without the power-ups? Everything from Fusion returns, along with some new ones. The Fairy suit no longer protects Samus from cold environments. That job's being given to the Gravity suit, which I guess gives it a bit more of significance. There's the diffusion beam, which was introduced in Other M. It basically gives your charged shot a wider effect. The wide beam from Fusion returns, which replaces the spacer beam. Forgot to mention that in Metroid Fusion. Sorry. The grapple beam from Super also returns, latching onto certain blue walls as well as grapple blocks. The morph ball comes with the morph jump. There's the cross bomb, which can break more blocks and help you travel across wide gaps or pit blocks. The spider magnet essentially replaces the spider ball and lets Samus climb onto certain blue walls. The storm missile, which, once the missile button has been held down for long enough, can lock onto more targets and shoot more missiles. And the spin boost, which lets you do a double jump. That becomes useless once you get to space jump. And that's all of the basic power-ups, with the exception of the high jump boosts and the fusion missiles which aren't in the game, which I can sort of understand. However, this isn't an issue, but it is weird how you don't get the morph ball as a first ability, and you don't get the screw attack as the last one.
Screw attack!
Well, I had to do it at some point. Oh, and I nearly forgot about the speed booster.
Rant mode activate.
Boy, I wasn't expecting to bring this one back. Okay, Screw the speed booster! It's not a bad power by any means, and it controls well, but certain energy tanks and missile tanks that require you to do this shine spot trick, which is done by crouching to store energy and shooting off in a single direction. I wouldn't mind it as much, but there's like so many tricks and wall jumping you have to do to set it off in the right place at the right time, and you can't stop or else you have to do it again. These ones took me forever because I wanted to get all the items in the game. Oh wow, that was a short rant. Actually, since we're on the topic, the missile tanks now increases your capacity by 2 rather than 5. Which is small, but there's a lot of them, and there's also these missile plus tanks, which gives you an additional 10, so it's fine. There's also these energy pods that become a single energy tank when you find 4 of them, kinda like the heart containers in Legend of Zelda. And since I'm already off topic at this point, I like how when you collect the power bomb tanks before you get the ability, it's an unknown item. It's nice and all, but they really should have added the sound effect from Zero Mission. And then there's the Aeon power-ups. Aeon was a 10 in Metroid Samus Returns, but I still haven't played it yet. These 3 new abilities use up an Aeon meter that will go back up over time. There's the Phantom Cloak that lets Samus go invisible at the cost of her mobility, but it'll slowly drain your Aeon meter over time and eventually your health if you use it for too long. The Flash Shift that lets you zoom a distance at least 3 times, and the Pulse Radar which will uncover hidden blocks, which is super helpful. They're not much, but they're good. And that's all of the power-ups. Not a lot on the surface, but they're pretty cool. But then we get to the Emmys. Oh boy, where do I start with this one? Remember the Emmys that the Galactic Federation sent to the planets? Well, they've gone rogue somehow, and now they're after you. No problem, right? Well... yeah, no, they're deadly. Once you enter an Emmy zone, you will be on guard the whole time. There's 1 Emmy per zone. It'll be just going around, you know, scanning the area. But once it hears anything, it'll start to investigate. And once it sees you, it'll chase you, and that's the point where you'll start running. Nothing can damage it. No charge beams, no missiles, nothing. And they'll take you down in 1 shot. You thought the SAX was tense? They turned the game into Resident Evil. You can counter it before it kills you, but the timing is so tight that you'll just end up getting the game over more likely than not. So it's best not to chance it, otherwise you'd go... And each Emmy is more dangerous than the last one. One can crawl through small areas, one is even faster, one will freeze you. It's like, once you get used to the last one, stuff like this screws you over and you have to think a bit more. You've got to maneuver in every way imaginable since you'll be going through these zones quite a lot. Stop moving, try to go the long way around so you don't get trapped yourself, use the Phantom Cloak in a small space so they'll go away, whatever you can use. There is one way to kill them. There are these rooms that will contain... mother brains? I think? Guess it makes sense since the one in the first game controlled the Metroids. Just shoot, shoot, shoot till it's dead, and then absorb its power to... to gain the Omega Cannon. Shoot a stream of... beams to destroy the plate armor, then charge it up, and BOOM! 1 down... Wait, I have to do this some more? Oh god! The thing is, however, is that you have to aim at the head and find some distance because they will still kill you if you're not ready. And aiming is harder than it looks, but to be fair, that could be just me. At this point, I'll be going over some story elements. So, because of how new the game is, I'm gonna mark this as spoilers. So use the timestamps on screen or chapters to avoid your pure minds. You ready? Here we go. Halfway through the game, another good Chozo saves you from an enemy by deactivating all of them. This is quite woke from the Toha tribe. The main bad guy in the beginning is Ravenbeak, leader of the Marken. Long ago, the two tribes helped contain the Metroids on SR388. They were gonna destroy the planet to get rid of the Metroids for good, but then, yeah, Ravenbeak wants power, so... Kill all the others! He planned to bring the Metroids back to ZDR, along with Cried Rope, since apparently the Torha tribe could control the Metroids. However, just as they were making preparations, it turns out that an ex-parasite disguised as a Markin was among them, and they spread, they killed, you can figure out how it went. Somehow, Ravenbeak alone survived and managed to contain the ex-parasites. But after that happened, Samus has already killed all of the Metroids. All was gonna be well until he had an idea. Since Samus had Metroid DNA inside her, Ravenbeak plans to use the Emmys to extract the DNA from her and clone the Metroids again. After that, he unlocks a path for us and then gets killed by a Chozo robot. Not sure why there's Chozo robots, but whatever. After a while, you come across a room that contains said ex-parasites. After doing some gaming in there, all of the ex-parasites has been freed and has now taken over all the creatures of the planet. So Metroid Fusion all over again. Good job, Samus, you goofed it up. I really enjoyed the bosses. If I were to sum them up, it's like the game overall. They're all hard, but once you know what to do, you're able to do it. Although most of the difficulty was because I didn't figure out something that should have been obvious. But they're all really good. Shoot them in the right spots with missiles, try your best not to get hit, and when you're able to counter it, you go into this cutscene where you're able to go insane with missiles or charge shots if you have no ammo. And that gets you a lot of freebies, so never pass up on them. There's not one boss I can say I hate. Drago's good, don't make fun of me, I don't know how to pronounce it. Corpus good, Experiment number Z57's good, Kraid's good. Wait, what? What are you doing here? No, seriously, what are you doing here? How are you still alive after killing you so many times? If you're here, where's Ridley or the rest of the space pirates for that matter? And what purpose you have been here chained up? Or is this a different Kraid from its own species? I can't just say yes all the time. The mini bosses with the ex-parasite infected Chozo warriors are pretty cool too. They're identical to you, which makes sense since your parasuit is Chozo technology. They can also be a pain if you don't keep some distance between you and them, but they're still good. The game looks really good. It's truly amazing to see how they've translated the 2D Metroid style into a modern console like this. The hidden blocks, the hidden areas, the water, the lava, even the items. Look how small they are. And the animation. Wow. Samus looks so awesome, especially like when you can see her eyes. You know that all they needed to do was just to express her eyes, and that's enough. Her parasuit, well, I like the new Omnitrix on her shoulders. I'm not sure why it changed at all. You can even see her old fusion suit back in the intro. Why is it different? Give us an explanation, Mercury. I also like the way the Emmys just crawls and everything, and standing up and... so creepy! The music... it's alright. It's good, just not memorable. The creepy sounds in the Emmy zones are cool. And that Super Metroid intro music... why is it so good? So, you've defeated all of the enemies, collected all of the power-ups, became the creative god of war, and didn't know how to play a Metroid game? Spoiler warning. Towards the end, Samus defeats the last Emmy by... absorbing its energy? What? Okay, so apparently this is because of the Metroid DNA awakening inside her. And then tells you that this new power-up is the last thing needed to confront Ravenbeak, which he has located above the planet. Your objective was originally to just make it back to your ship. But now because of Raven's new goal and the ex-parasites all over the planet, thank you Samus, the plan has changed. So off to the elevator to confront him. Once you get up there, Adam tells you that the Torha Chozo DNA inside Samus was the reason her Metroid powers didn't awake as soon as the vaccine happened, and that you must also have the Markin DNA, and for whatever reason, Metroids recognize Markin as the enemy, which would explain the thingamajig with Ravenbeak. Adam then tells Samus that she's now become a danger, and that she should submit and offer her power to— wait a minute. Gasp! An imposter! An imposter! Should I keep this in? Also, turns out that was Ravenbeak's DNA that was given to her. And then a fight happens, and man is it hard! Even with all them energy tanks, it's still easy to die. Again, not unfair, just learn the patterns and you should be fine. But good gravy, does it take some time to get used to. And check out that arm cannon blast! Also, he has wings. Well, they do look Bud-like, so I guess that makes sense. After defeating him, or not, he says that he doesn't even need the Metroid DNA anymore because he can, I don't know, clone an army of Samus? I think that's what he was trying to say. But then... after the ship crashes down, a powerful X-Parasite takes control of him, and Samus shoots him down with this new Hyper Beam. Oh yeah, she has a Halo-looking suit now. That's funny. After that... saw that coming. She makes it back, but she can't control the ship because her hand will drain its energy. And then, an X-Parasite that has copied the dead Quasrobe, who then gives itself to Samus? And then she has control over her Metroid DNA again? Honestly, I'm a bit confused on that part. Was he able to control the X again even after death? I don't know. And then, the planet blows up. Seriously, what's with everyone on blowing up planets? And then, credits. And yes, I didn't get the best ending again. This is who I will forever be. And that was Metroid Dread. What do I think of it? Well, it's really good. I'd say the wait for the Switch and Mercury's Steam was worth it. The Metroid gameplay is here and better, the controls are amazing, it looks superb, the bosses are fun, the enemies turns it into a different game in a good but frightening way. It's hard but fair, and probably other stuff that I just can't think about right now. It's worth the money. I repeat, worth the money. But if I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little glad that I'm done with Metroid for a while. Unless 3000 turns up with Prime or Other M or something like that. Playing these games just like that kinda tired me out. But it was a fun experience overall. Before doing this, I had only beaten Other M, Prime 1, Metroid 2, and Zero Mission. I wasn't much of a Metroid fan before this, but now? Well, there are other games that I like a lot more, but I really enjoyed this Metroid experience. Oh, and I probably won't do the Prime series when 4 comes out, assuming it's coming out at all, but I'm gonna hopefully give Metroid a break. Oh, and some call me Johnny. If you're watching this, that joke is mine now. You killed that jerk, but I brought him back to life.
Hey there, Retro! Good job on the Metroid Dread review. It's interesting to see you review a new game every now and then.
Thanks, but where the heck were you?
Oh yeah, Sonic 06 was taking forever to load, so I went to get a McDonald's. And would you believe it's still freaking loading?
Really? Huh. That's weird.
So anyways, for your last few games, you'll be reviewing the Ratchet and Clank trilogy.
Oh, really? Cool. I love Ratchet and Clank. So, I guess that's it then.
Yep, I guess that's it. Then... ah, shoot!
What? What is it?
They never gave me my chicken McNuggets! I gotta go make a complaint.
3000, would you take this seriously?
I am.
I mean...
Just start without me, Retro.
3,000!
Okay, bye!
Fudge nuggets. Well, about time I talked about this trilogy, especially since the game recently turned 19. Insomniac, well known for the original Spyro trilogy and Disruptor. Right before Year of a Dragon was complete, they decided to give the Spyro series to someone else since they had no more ideas for a Purple Boy and wanted to try something new. They began working on a game codenamed I-5, or Go With A Stick. After a few months, it didn't work out so well, so they shelved it and decided to make a similar game, but in space, and with weapons. And then boom! Ratchet and Clank was born. And haha, the similarities in Spyro 2 and Spyro 3. I'm gonna say it, it's all probably just a coincidence. So in 2002, Ratchet and Clank was released for the new PS2. What the heck is he? In the year... whatever. There's different planets and aliens and stuff. I don't know. I'm great at reviews. In a factory that's making robots, an error has occurred and produces a defective one. After looking at an infobot, which are robots that have videos and coordinates, basically a phone, the defect escapes the planet but gets shot down and lands on the planet Velden. It's here we're introduced to Ratchet, who is a Lombax. What is a Lombax, you may ask? He's an alien. There you go, case closed. After witnessing the crash, he goes to the site where he finds the defect. The robot shows Ratchet the infobot's video of this corporate douchebag called Chairman Dread, whose home planet is polluted and is taking large pieces of other worlds and adding them to his new planet which he is building. But in doing so, this will destroy those planets. I'm not sure how he's able to just build another planet, but it's a video game. The robot is looking for a hero called Captain Quark and needs Ratchet's help to find him. And so by using the ship he built and the robotic ignition system in the robot to start, this tin's a key. They both set off to stop Chairman Drek and save the galaxy. Also, Ratchet calls him Clank because
my serial number is V54296. Oops! I'll just call you Clank for short.
And then it goes off from here. One thing to mention is, yep, it's a 3D platformer. Sort of. You see, there's not too much platforming to do, and once you get the helipack for Clank, which lets you glide, there's not much challenge to the platforming. Don't get me wrong, there is some challenge to it, and they try to build around it, but you won't have much difficulty. So it's not just about the platforming. Instead, it's about the Mets, baby! I love the Mets! Here we go! They're gonna hit a home run! The Mets, baby! Let's go Mets! Sorry. Recently found out about this meme and I couldn't resist. Instead, it's about the weapons. Using your bolts, which is like money, you can buy weapons at a Gadgetron vendor. There's the Bomb Glove, the Blaster, the Devastator, the Pyrocida, the Glove of Doom, which summons little exploding robot dogs, the Visibomb Gun, which lets you control it as it flies, the Suck Cannon, which sucks in enemies and lets you use them as ammo, the Tesla Claw, which is the second best weapon in the game, and the Morpho Ray, which turns enemies into chickens. Chickens. It's so fun to blast these guys into poof. If you do run out of ammo, you can still use your trusty wrench, but when it comes to faraway foes, or if you're too scared, just stock up on ammo. It's also just so damn fun blowing anything up. Forget about saving money, I want to destroy everything! I am not taking that back! Of course, the weapons aren't the only things you get. There are other gadgets and upgrades to help you out. There's the helipack that I brought up, along with the thruster pack that lets you move slightly faster and do the scram pound, and the hydro pack which helps you swim better underwater, There's the O2 mask so you can breathe underwater, the metal detector which finds bolts on the ground, the hollow guys which can trick certain robots, the grind boots that let you grind, the magna boots that lets you walk across certain metal surfaces. Just like the weapons, there's a lot. Not as fun as the weapons, but they're fun enough. Your main goal is to usually just get to the end of whatever path you're on, then do a 10 for someone, get a 10, and either try another path or move on to the next planet. Sometimes you'll need a certain gadget so you'll have to go back later, but it's nothing troubling. There isn't much exploration to do here. I mean, sure there are the hidden golden bolts which I'll explain later, and the different paths to take, but the latter is generally at the beginning, so it's nothing groundbreaking. But hey, this ain't a Spyro game. It's a boom game! And most, if not all, the planets have you do something slightly different. Mostly at the end though. You get to go hoverboard racing, flying a ship and shooting tins down, shooting more tins down in a turret, beating up more tins as a giant Clank, and more. They're alright. They're fun enough and you only come across them once or twice, so they don't overstay their welcome even if they do suck. In addition to that, you also get to play as Ratchet alone and Clank alone. With Clank, he's small and doesn't have the same weapons Ratchet has, so his sections are more slower paced puzzle sections. He can use his antenna to command these robot dogs to either open doors or attack enemies larger than him. Again, it's slow, but it's a nice break after the mayhem of booms. And with Ratchet, it's just like before Clank could glide. It's not much, but there's a lot more platforming in there, and it makes you miss the helipack. So in short, the main gameplay is more fun, while the other stuff that's different is a bit more challenging and the fun is based on if you like some or not. Which is a weird way to balance it, I won't deny that. But it works. And that's not to say there's no challenge in the core gameplay. Some of the enemies and placements may be tricky, and there are bosses, but most of the time, it's just you having fun. You know your game's good when just collecting bolts is the best thing about the game. I don't need them that much, but I want them! Is that a bad sign? And I love the characters. A good example, the plumber. Enough said.
Dad, blast it!
Look, plumber's crack.
What did you just say?
I said, look, the plumber's back.
All right, wise guy.
There's Metroid Dread, who... there's something about him I find good as a villain. I don't know, probably the douchiness in him. There's Captain Quark, who is full of himself and not the brightest. Spoilers for those who care. He does betray Ratchet and Clank, revealing he works for Dread so he can become even more famous. I even like the duo themselves. Clank wants to focus on his mission and save everyone, but Ratchet just wants to do his own thing, but still helps out anyway. He's like us, but with a robot's conscience. They do fight after Quark betrays them, and honestly, it's sad that you have to keep playing and knowing they hate each other. But don't worry, they make up. It's all good. Not bad for an early 2000 game. It's froze. Restart the game, hit the power button, PlayStation logo, toot your Sonic Warrior, play the whole minigame again! Woo!
See you around sometime.
It's froze again. Try to fix the disc with some toothpaste and hopefully fix the game. The game looks pretty good. They've done a nice job with the environment and especially the animation. All of them stretchiness is the cherry on top. Even if it looks weird on Clank, but I'm gonna let it slide. It's also good to see a video game with good lip syncing. Sonic 06 made me worried. As for the music, it's really good. It fits everything and its quality. The only thing that holds it back for me personally is that it's not memorable, but everything else is great. And since we're on the topic of sounds, Insomniac said that they wanted to make something completely different from the Spyro series. But you guys can't fool me. My ears can detect Spyro sound effects from miles away. Oh, by the way, every time you turn the game off on the PAL version, it resets back to 50 Hz. You have to switch it to 60 Hz from the title menu if you want to use that every time you start the game up. It's pretty annoying. And since we're on that topic too, there are a few things that aren't great. Nothing big, but it can get really annoying at times. 1. You have to pay to get through the story half of the time. It's sometimes stuff like buying gear you don't have, but then there are ones that you have to pay for just to move the guy out of the way. And they say that you're getting a discount just in an attempt to make you feel better. Well, it doesn't! Glad to see another spiral element here. 2. There are quite a few useless weapons. Now don't get me wrong, most of them are fun to use, but they don't really get the job done. The Mind Glove's useless, the Walloper is useless, the Morphle, while funny, is useless, the Decoy Glove is very situational. Literally the only good weapons are the Blaster, Devastator, and the Tesla Claw. Heck, the Omni Wrench is just as strong, if not stronger than most of the weapons. In fact, it's more efficient to use the Omni Wrench for most of the game. Sure, it's not as fun, but it's a heck of a lot faster in some situations. And when it comes to airborne enemies, let's just hope you don't run out of ammo for those 3 good weapons. 3. The Magna Boots. Okay, it doesn't come up often, but it still annoys me. You move so god slow, you can't use any of your weapons, and if you somewhat make a misstep, you die and have to do it again. 4. Aiming is pretty hard. Now sometimes if the target is close enough, it will auto aim, but more often than not, you'll probably miss, and the biggest reason for that is the positioning, and the fact that there's no real way to strafe. Well, there is one way, but you get it later on in the game, and it controls terribly, so you either have to get some distance or go both out with weapons. And 5. The game doesn't pause while selecting your weapons. This is a really big issue, since you might be switching while in the heat of a battle. Now you can either run away to do it, be really quick about it, or pause the actual game and go through some extra effort to select the weapon you want. But this simple thing is a game breaker sometimes and ruins the pace. Now to be fair, all of these issues are not present in future games, so this mostly suffers from being the first in the series, and they haven't figured everything out. But if you decide to play this one, especially after the others, this will be apparent. The ending doesn't have much going for it. I mean, it's cool how you're back where you started, and the boss itself is hard until you figure out a pattern, but it's just alright. Although it is a little wholesome how they stay close friends even after their mission is done. And if you look at the credits, you'll see that they had a little help from Naughty Dog. That's both funny and kind of awesome. It froze again. Again. What do you want from me? I did the toothpaste trick. That didn't work. There's a spare copy and a spare PS2 that was apparently owned by Shimoda. Those don't work. I even deleted my save file just in case it was the save file that was corrupted. That didn't work. Thank flippin' G's for the PS3 version and my oldest sister Demon Crow's save file, which is identical to the PS2's one. Don't worry, she doesn't watch my videos anyway. And besides, it's an old one. So if you were wondering why the footage kept changing in quality and aspect ratio, that's why. And normally, I wouldn't go through this much stress and effort, but this game has a new game plus of sorts, where you get to play the game again, but you keep your old weapons and bolts. This is so you can get any other collectibles, weapons, and the gold weapons that are exclusive to this mode. They're basically more powerful versions of the previous weapons. They add extra stuff like holding more ammo, bouncier bullets, giant chickens! But it's usually just bigger explosions or add-in explosions. You can purchase them with your bolts as well as the gold bolts. See? That's what they're used for. But in addition to that, there's the Rhino, which is short for Rep Your New One. This is the most powerful weapon in the entire game, and you can get it without the New Game Plus in theory. However, it is so freaking expensive. You'd either have to play through the game a number of times, or do this glitch to get infinite bolts. What? Go look it up. And is it useful? Well, no, not really. With the price tag, it's safe to assume you've done everything else first. But is it worth it? Heck yeah it is! It fires multiple targets with auto-aiming. Nothing stands in your way now! And that's not the only thing to do after you beat the game. By collecting gold bolts and skill points, you unlock some extras like an epilogue, commercials, concept art, and a behind the scenes video. That's right, even the skill points from Spyro are here, and they finally have a use. But wait, that's not all. There are even cheats. Yeah, cheats. And it's not like their existence being kept a secret like most other games. There's a whole menu telling you to find them. You have to do some pretty weird and slightly difficult moves to even activate them, but once you've done so, you don't have to do it again, which is good. They're not as fun as Spyro, but I did have some fun of my own. Look Mom, I'm playing Sonic Colors Ultimate. Big Head mode is a classic, and you can even view them with the cutscenes. This looks so stupid!
I am in search of a hip young star to represent my newest line of boards. Someone the kids can look up to.
And I am your man.
You can even activate some debug codes that'll straight up give you the skill points. Why has no one talked about it? No, seriously, they're super easy and you can even get a huge chunk of the trophies on the PS3 version this way. How have I only come across it now? And that's Ratchet and Clank. What do I think of it? Well, despite the minor issues, and that really annoying part where I got stuck, seriously, right before I can say to get the new game plus? How many times I had to face Drek just to see if it'll work this time? Despite all that, I had a ton of fun. Sure, again, the issues, but if you can look past that, and get a working copy, you will have fun blasting others into orbit. The simplified platforming, the cutscenes, the setting, and this.
It's really just about blowing shit up. Blow up a lot of shit. Blow up and blowing shit up.
Trust me, it's really good. But how will the sequel do? Well, tune in next time to find out if that copy will work, or will the same happen again? Okay, so here's my very brief history with Ratchet and Clank. The first one I've played was the third one. Years later, I played the first one. The second one? Never played. Well, my older sister, Demon Crow, said we had that, but bleh. So going into this is gonna be a whole new experience, and I'm interested to compare this to the third one. But that's for next time. 5 months before Ratchet and Clank released, and after many positive reviews from playtesters, Sony was like, hey, do another one. And so they went to work, coming up with big ideas and trying to fix any flaws fans had with the first game. It's really funny how much confidence they had in the game. Like, what if it didn't do well? I mean, it did do well, but still. But regardless, Ratchet and Clank 2 came out a year later. Ratchet and Clank 2, Going Commando, Lock and Loaded. Oh, by the way, when you leave the title screen on, Ratchet will eventually start playing Jak and Daxter 1, 2, and Sly Cooper. That's cute. The story starts many weeks later after Drek's defeat, where Ratchet and Clank are being interviewed, and it turns out that they're bored out of their minds with nothing to do. Conveniently, they are transported to the Bogart Galaxy by Mr. Fizzwidget, owner of the company Megacorps, which is just like Gadgetron. He asks for their help in retrieving an experiment that was stolen from a mysterious masked person, and then the story goes off from here. So there we go. New galaxy, new villains, but the same old gameplay. Man, they really should have put down the back of the box. Playing the game, there's a lot of familiar beats. You know, as you do with a sequel. Why am I always bringing that up? Well, for improvements, the controls are mostly the same except for one new feature. You can strafe. Well, you can strafe before, but this time it's so much better. This makes the whole game so much better alone, and makes aiming and shooting a whole lot easier. It may seem small, but in the first one, this was a really big issue. And would you look at that, the game pauses as you're selecting your weapons, making sure the action keeps its flow. And speaking of the weapons, they too are a lot better. No longer just there. There's the Lancer, the Gravity Bomb, the Blitz Gun, the Mini Turret Gun, Lava Gun, Plasma Core, Centenoids, Shield Charger, and many, many more. And rather than 3 of them being ones you'll want to use, you'd want to use all of them. Even the ones you wouldn't think would have a use, like the Spider Glove or Seeker Gun. The Shibanator on the other hand, it's pretty useless, but I'm gonna let it slide. And to encourage you to use them more, as you kill more enemies with them, it fills up this meter, and once it fills up completely, they get upgraded to Mega Weapons, where they're even stronger than before. It's kind of funny how after you upgrade them, you don't want to use them again since you'll be focusing on upgrading the others, but it's still pretty cool. Speaking of upgrading, you can even upgrade your health so you can take more hits. There's also spots where you can buy your old weapons from the first game. You know, like the Walloper and the Decoy Glove. But if you bought them on your old save file from the first game, you could get them for free. You know, assuming your game didn't crash or anything. You can also modify your weapons from this shady character called Slim Cognito. I see what they did there. It's not much, really. You can make them lock on, have an acid effect, and a shock effect. But it's pretty cool, especially since you use your platinum bolts to pay for them. Oh yeah, since your normal bolts are now golden, for some reason, the gold bolts have been replaced with the platinum bolts. And instead of getting gold weapons, well, Slim Cognito. Now that I think about it, that's like a downgrade. And on top of buying weapons, you can also buy yourself some armor to take in less damage. And your gadgets are here too. You got the classic Swing Shot and Grind Boots, there's the Gravity Boots, which is a much better version of the Magna Boots, the Tractor Beam which moves platforms, the Dynamo which activates pins, and others. All of this makes the game a whole lot better, and I've only been talking about the weapons. Well, the main gameplay is mostly the same. I mean, you start without Clank for some reason, I don't know. And some of the jumps are really hard to pull off. Seriously, this is like Mega Man jumping. But it really is the same old Ratchet and Clank, just all of the issues ironed out. Further on though, the enemies get a lot harder, taking more hits and won't stop coming. Look at this! This has taken me forever! But if you have the experience and the right weapons and armor, you should be fine. Except for Snivelak. Screw this planet! And the Clank levels are mostly the same, except this time you have different robots to command. It's not much, but hey, it's good. And as for the minigames and side stuff, well, they're alright. I really hate the parts where you have to fly in your ship and shoot things down, but the others are alright. There's more giant Clank battles, you can hang glide, grab crystals, take part in gladiator rings, and my favourite, the races. I don't know why, but I really enjoy them. There's not much in the variety department, and any of the ones you might not enjoy, the spaceships, appears more often, but it's not a huge deal. And when you want to keep playing, you're rewarded with more bolts, so hey, it's all good. As for the planets themselves, well, they have a whole different vibe to them. Probably because you're in a whole new galaxy. Actually, the whole game has a different vibe. In the first game, you were just trying to save the galaxy while goofing off along the way. Here, you're on a mission. More industrial and buildings, swarms, Jak and Daxter plastered everywhere. Seriously, this galaxy must really love their franchise. Even Ratchet's personality is different. Instead of his teenage attitude of not caring, he's more mature now. I guess it makes sense since people didn't like the old Ratchet, but honestly, I think I prefer him a little bit more. I mean, there's nothing more satisfying when you're on a mission and then, oh look! And now we're in a hoverboard race. I don't know, it's probably just me. And since we're in someplace different, we've got new characters to meet, and I like them. The oversensitive biker, the tugs for less, the smart mutant enemy who is, well, there. But that's not to say there's no familiar faces, which means one thing. That's right, the plumber's back! And they really know how to handle the humor. It's really fun to watch. Watch the ending cutscene, trust me, it's gold. Huh. Jak and Daxter when they get an orb. We get it, Insomniac! Your buddies! Can we just get back to Ratchet and Clank now? By the way, the game supports widescreen, but they crop it. I hate it when they do that. What's the point of having widescreen on in the first place? And what's even worse than it's always automatically on. What's with you guys? In the middle of the game, you get suspicious of Mr. Fizzwidgers and finds out that the thief turns out to be another Lombax named Angela. After playing future games, this raises some questions, but that's for another time! She later tells Ratchet and Clank that Megacorps is selling the experiment as pets and that they are a danger to the galaxy and must be stopped. Then it turns out that Mr. Fizzwidger was Captain Quark all along. He was planning to use them as a comeback to be a hero again. Then shenanigans happen and we fight this turn now, and honestly, it's a weak final boss. Heck, this guy feels more like a final boss than any turn. But whatever, we saved the day, all is well, New Game Plus. All without a single crash. Phew! As for the New Game Plus, it's even better. You can purchase your Mega Weapons to upgrade them even further to Ultra Weapons, and you have a Bolt multiplier so you can get more bolts, and of course, the 3 powerful weapons. First, the Rhino 2. It's great. Enough said. Next, the Clank Zapper. It's honestly meh. And lastly, the Zodiac. It wipes out anything on screen. Wow! The only problem is that you can only hold 4 ammo at a time, and the ammo itself costs I can't say it's worth it. My advice, stick with the Rhino 2. Oh, and the cheats and extras are fine. You can play Sheep Invaders and Space Wars. The cheats are about the same. I didn't bother getting everything, but there's not much to say. You can play Doom. And that's Ratchet and Clank 2, Gateway to Ripto. What do I think of it? Well, it's a whole lot better. Now, I know I didn't say much, but you got to remember, Ratchet and Clank 1 was pretty good with its own flaws. But this game fixes everything. Weapons are better, the difficulty is better balanced despite how you might feel, and there's more replay value. If you like the first one, you won't be disappointed. So with nearly no flaws, what can a third one do? Well, tune in next time as we...
Alright, just what the f is going on?
Well, my childhood game. I didn't play much of it back then because I was so bad at video games. Ratchet and Clank 1 was pretty good, Ratchet and Clank 2 fixed nearly everything. What did this one do? Well, Insomniac was wondering the same thing. How could they make this one different? Well, they did 2 things. One was what they did very well, listen to any complaints the fans had and try to fix them. And 2, Halo. But we'll get to that. And that's it. That's all the background I've got, apart from the fact that Jak 3 was in development around the same time, and even had a similar release date, but they still didn't see them as rivals. Really pointless stuff until I get around to the series. So here we go. Ratchet and Clank 3, up your arsenal. More like up your let's play this game. The story starts with Ratchet and Clank chilling in their apartment until they see a news report of their home planet being attacked by a race known as the Terrorites, led by Dr. Nefarious. So they go back home to save their planet. Later on, they're tasked to find this mysterious man, who is known as the only one to have ever beaten him. Turns out, it's Captain Quark. Can't escape this guy, can he? He lost his memory because... But don't worry, playing a video game about him helped his brain. It's all good. In fact, it's not as if the other 2 games never happened, even with Ratchet. I mean, I know he's the only one who could help, but not even a little tension? I'm getting too deep into this. The rest of the story is pretty good from here on out. The jokes in the other 2 were gold, but in this one, it's good, but in a different way, if that makes any sense. It feels more like a story with most of the cutscenes, I think. Because we're back, we've got a lot of familiar faces. Of course, I brought up Captain Quark, the Skid, Al, Helga, and, get ready for this, The Plumber. Star Wars, The Plumber Strikes Back. And some of the new characters are good too. There's the evil Dr. Nefarious who wants to get rid of all living organisms, or, squishies. Squishies. Don't you dare touch my car! There's his butler, Lawrence, who goes underappreciated. There's the president and his daughter, Sasha, who are just there. Scrunch the Monkey because, well, monkey. And Courtney Gears, an obvious pun on the pop singer Britney Spears. Ha! Ha! Ha ha! Ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha! I especially like the parts where Clank gets kidnapped and replaced with an evil clone called Clank. Ratchet and Clank. And speaking of Clank, my favorite part in the whole story is the Secret Agent Clank TV series. Just look at it! I want this to be real! Clank is somehow the star and Ratchet is played as a bubbling idiot. What has happened? And the funniest part is that everyone noticed Clank more than Ratchet, often thinking him being a secret agent is real. This is amazing. And the fact that they made an actual game, not a game in the Ratchet and Clank universe, but a real PlayStation Portable game called Secret Agent Clank. Dude, you guys are good. Give me the TV show already. I guess it is sad we don't get much from the Bogon Galaxy, apart from the opening and Slim Cognito, but it's nice to see some familiar and new faces with a pretty darn good story. For the main gameplay, well, I know I said there weren't much changes between the first and the second game, but with this one, there's even less changes. They have fixed some issues. You can hold more weapons on the quick select menu. You can tap the triangle button to cycle through the last 3 weapons. You can adjust the camera speed. If it helps, you get first person mode right from the start. Well, where all else fails. After the trilogy, I believe this is the best set of weapons I have ever used. There's the Shock Blaster and the Nitro Launcher, the Annihilator that can explode into tiny bouncing bombs, the Plasma Whip, which is a bigger and better version of the Omni Wrench, the Spitting Hydra, which locks onto multiple targets, the Rift Inducer, which is OP, and the Crackle Ray, which turns enemies into ducks. I'm starting to notice a pattern. And even the Glove of Doom and Suck Cannon returns from the first game, and man does the Suck Cannon control so much better. If you know how to use it, it is awesome. As for some of the weapons from the second game, well, Slim Cognito returns to sell you the weapons. Well, at least it's better than the weapon modifications. However, you only get 2 when you meet him, and you don't get any more until towards the end of the game. What's up with that? What's funny is that if you have a save file from the first game, you get that discounts from Gadgetron you were promised. You guys! And if you have a save file from the second one, you get the weapons from Slim for free, which is neat. And unlike the last game, you can upgrade them like normal. That was pointless in the second game. Oh yeah, upgrading has been expanded upon. Instead of once and then buying mega weapons, you can upgrade them to level 5 and then level 8 when you buy them again, which is cool. More reason to use your weapons more, because in the last game, if you mainly use one weapon, it'll be upgraded in no time. Gotta love the weapons. The other stuff are good too. The Clank sections are the same as the first game, except you have a banana gun to make Scrunch go wherever you want him to go. Not sure why, but I prefer this to the second one. Also animal abuse. As for Ratchet alone, well, it only happens once, and there's not a lot of platforming at that point, which is a real shame. And for the minigames, well, there's practically none of them. You can do the battle arenas, disguise yourself as a Terranoid, which works a lot better than disguising yourself as a robot in the first game, and you can play these video games or vid comics where you control Captain Quark in a 2D style game. But the main minigame is the missions. Okay, before anything else, they're not bad. You have the galactic rangers in these missions where you have to either defeat the enemies, screw some boats, or destroy the enemy turrets. Sometimes you'll be in an admittedly well-controlled buggy or Amazon drone. But you do this god freaking so many times! And the most annoying part is that they're mandatory through progressing the story. So if you don't like them, well, tough cookie, you gotta get through them. The only reason there is because they really love the multiplayer mode they made. In fact, I'm probably gonna have a hard time finding a place to put this in, so... the multiplayer. You and a friend or few are on 2 teams. You either have to destroy the enemy's base core, capture the flag, or do a player versus player match. You find weapons on the map, the base is protected, and there are places where you could turn into spawn points. Simple, but I'd imagine it'd be a lot of fun. I say that because you can play by yourself, and I did that a lot. It was alright. However, the main reason you want to play it is because it supports online mode. Well, it did. Currently, I can't properly review it as it is right now. I mean, you can play only through fan servers, but they're currently working on the European one right now, and I don't want to get too complicated with Ether cables. How did people do this back then? Did they have a broadband right next to the console or something? Or am I just stupid? I mean, it's fine. I just wish I could play with more people of my skill level. Oh, and the new Game Plus is the same as the last one. It's fine. The Rhino 3 or Rhino? It's awesome. It's essentially the same as the first one, but once you fully upgrade it, it becomes a nuke. One positive note, and spoilers if you care, Quark is presumed dead later on, but then it turns out he's been hiding, and then he actually helps out during the final fight. I mean, he's not doing much, but look! Actual character development from Quark! I nearly forgot to put this in. And that's Ratchet and Clank 3. What do I think of it? Well, there's not that much difference. The only thing I think I'm missing is, well, your health is now more points based, so smaller fire takes less damage. You can collect gold trophies too. It has the same widescreen crop, that's annoying. The game is a bit easier than the last one. There's more loading screens, those are pretty cool. However, the weapons, the multiplayer, well, I imagine, and my nostalgia make this one personally the better of the trilogy. But that's just me. Let me know which one's your favorite. It all comes down to a preference. Give it a try. It may or may not be your favorite, but if you like Ratchet and Clank, it's another great game. Oh, and the jokes are still good.
My daughter tells me you're a man who's good with his hands, Ratchet.
Sir, I swear I...
And then there was a HD Ratchet and Clank trilogy, released for the PS3 in 2012 for the 10th anniversary, and then later ported to the Vita 2 years later. Well, it's the Ratchet and Clank games you know and love, but in widescreen and HD. Actually, the game says it runs in 1080, but it actually runs in 720. The games are fine, but there are quite a few bugs and issues that were for some reason never patched. Music not looping properly, the HUD menu not working right, Ratchet's helmet is floating, this just not looking right, and you can't even access the subtitles in Ratchet 2. What's up with that? And glitches. See? Spyro lives on. Where's my Spyro 4? At least they gave proper widescreen to the 4x3 format, no cropping included. However, for the pre-rendered cutscenes, they were originally rendered in widescreen. So you know what they did? They squished it. Why? I mean, at the end of the day, it's Ratchet and Clank. Sure, the PS2 versions are way better, but if you just want a way to play the game, then there should be no problem. Oh, and there's a demo of Sly 2. Didn't know this at the time, so I wasn't able to record footage of me playing. Oops. So, what happens now?
I don't know.
Lucario X? How did you get here? And I swear, this is a—
Dude, I never cared about a Christmas special in the first place. He kept making the joke.
Oh, my bad. Zap?
Sorry about that. I didn't think that would happen.
You were only trying to help, dude.
Fan Sandal?
You're never gonna get my name right, are you?
Pikmin?
What the heck happened to you?
Waiting for the next collab. By the way, forgot to pluck me from the ground.
And here I thought Retro being a monkey was the weirdest thing ever.
Shimoda, you're back! Where were you?
I got better. As for where I was...
Like I said, he went out.
3000?
Hey, 3000, you're glitching up again.
Oh, hold on a second. There we go. Happens every time.
What are you all doing here?
Here to help you, of course.
After you went missing, Lucario X has been uploading those videos from 3003 Studios' office onto your channel.
Dude, were you really stuck in here for 6 months? How the heck are you still alive?
I ask myself every single day.
Wait a minute. Did you steal my chicken McNuggets?
That aside, I reviewed those games, but that still did nothing.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I'm still my word! I'm me again!
Oh, I get it. He's Retrominimii. Get it? Get it?
Really? We've been friends for how long and you've only noticed it now?
It's a joke, Retro. God!
Anyways, haven't you noticed anything else?
My editing's still terrible?
No. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Yeah, you gotta admit.
I have to agree with you on that one.
I don't know, lads. I mean, Lucario X ain't that great.
Hey, I don't even have a laptop yet, you douchebag!
Well, excuse...
Anyway, these last few games you've been reviewing and you haven't moaned about Mario once.
Oh. Well, I do hope I can make it without...
Oh, for God's sake, you'll be fine. In fact, that's what these games have been teaching you.
It has?
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank, Sonic 06, Metroid Dread. Even if a franchise seems to be dead, doesn't mean that there's no chance that it'll ever come back. Mario will come back just like Spyro, Crash, Sonic, heck even Bubsy.
Speaking of which, we've got you something.
My helmet?
What? No. Fine. Here.
It's about time.
Here.
Is this...
We know you've been waiting for Spyro 4, so we made you one. It's not much but...
Woohoo! I'll see you soon. I've got to boot up my PS5. And thanks for everything. You guys are the best.
When are we gonna tell him that this whole Mario is gone thing is nothing more than a prank that some jerk did?
Just let him have his moment.
So, I have to ask, lads, how did you make the game?
I don't know.
I see. So, when do I get paid?
Oh yeah, not including the cuts review, this is my 50th review, so yay! Thank you! I forgot to put this in the script, so I'm putting this in now. Thank you. Whew.